welcome to the Tournameta podcast, season 2, episode 2. Back again with very special guests. Today, we've done something different. We've actually managed to hack the system. Well, when I say we, I mean Jet. To be able to put two bobbing icons on screen so that we may have a tri-cast of the podcast. First of all, let me just say, how are you guys today?
Look, man. Oh, jeez. Pretty well. You smoked my ears just before. They've been annihilated. I think I still had you at 200, but I'm doing
Apologies.
great.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I do that often, so yeah, it's a common occurrence. And how are you, Olag?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Had to, got off of university today and then sat down. I'm like, man, you thought I was just a student? No, I'm actually a professional Tournameta podcast guest. I'm so excited.
I can't believe we made it. By the way. It's crazy.
I've managed to make all the way out here. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Add it to the resume, guys.
I will. It's already there.
Yeah.
Dude, when you sent me that Twitter message, I was like, right there, right then and there, that next employer, they're going to see it.
Well,
LinkedIn.
the funny thing is, I wanted to have you guys on. This is a little bit of backstory behind the scenes, because of nothing to do with your fandom of the podcast. Similarly with Weeb, I actually just went around and asked people because I wanted to have commentators on. Like, who do you think are the most hardworking and I said long-standing commentators in the scene, but everyone immediately went, yeah, Chipotle Olag, like the most hardworking commentators, like most renowned in Australia at the moment. So hats off to you guys for being recommended purely on your own merits.
Wow,
Dude. Yeah. Wow, that's I'm pretty chuffed actually. I did not expect that, but I'll take it, man. Thank you so much to everyone. That's mad props.
Yeah, geez, thank you, man. I didn't think I knew we were okay. I didn't think we were that good. But, wow, man, thank you so much. That means a lot, actually. That really does.
It's a big Keanu Reeves, big Chungus, wholesome moment 100 all around. Anyways, so because we have a different type of format going with the guests, we also got a different type of format on how we're going to be going through it. So if you've been looking forward to the speed round segment, it's not here. I immediately apologize. But because we have more people here, we actually get to have more of a roundtable discussion, which I think is actually an opportunity for us to do some more interesting topics and cover some more ground. So I think it's kind of exciting. First topic I actually wanted to do is a bit of your guys' origins. So since you're on the far left, Chipotle, on the screen, we'll start with you. What were your first tournaments? How did you get into the scene? How did you start on commentary? And what was your origin story?
All right, you want the lore, the Chipotle issue number 1, Amazing Fantasy. All right, well, it sort of it splits in sort of 2 parts. So my first ever tournament, I used to live back in Melbourne, and when Smash 4 came out, I just finished high school. So this was 2014, towards the end of 2014. So I was like, I played a lot of Brawl as a kid growing up. I was like, you know what? This new game, I've finished school, I got plenty of time. I'm going to go to Smash at Swanston, which was one of the original locals run by Jack Gorman Pudge. And man, I think I went 2-2 at my first tournament or something like that. I didn't bust her out completely, which was really dope. And I think I played Mega Man day 1. So that was wild because no one knew the matchup. It was so good. And then straight after that, I sort of hovered around a little bit. Smash 4 didn't really suit my fancy too much. So by the time DLC came out,
Understandable.
Yeah. So by the time DLC came out, Corrin Bayonetta, I was sort of out of the scene a little bit. I didn't really attend tournaments. I just played the game casually with friends. And then I moved to Sydney for a job, and I've been here for around 3 years. Oh, 2.5, sorry. So since 2018. And when Ultimate started, I ended up saying, all right, let's try this again because, I'm pretty interested in the game. The mechanics look better. It seems like something more polished, something that I really enjoyed. So I figured yeah, let's swing by Starforge. Went to Starforge Underground first. Played around with a couple of the guys. I really liked the vibe that they had there, and I kept coming back for more. And it was more so the fact that because I'd moved states, there were less people that I knew. So I was like, oh, this is a good opportunity for me to meet, new people, different faces, and not just the scene, but just friends in general. Because everyone wants people that you can talk about the game with. And then commentary wise, I think it was after. I haven't been doing it for too long, because I only started doing commentary in Ultimate. But the first time I jumped on the mic was just before BAM, I'm pretty sure, at one of the Starforge locals, and it's because no one was there. I was just staying back late because I was in the bracket still, and they were like, "Yeah, just jump on the mic," and I was awful. I was god awful at it. And then I kept sort of maintaining a steady pace. So after BAM, I was like, yeah, I really like, after that crazy BAM where Ben Gold just, stole it completely. It was amazing. I was like, you know what, I really want to get into this a lot more. And I really want to do commentary because that's something that I've always enjoyed when I've watched streams and stuff, but I've never really had the chance to do.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd push hard on that. And then, basically from there, we just kept grinding and to the point where I am today, essentially. And just, traveling more. I like to travel. I want to travel more for this stuff. It's a shame that this year happened, but
yes.
The idea was, to hit up for sure. Sunny Side Up, that was definitely a lock-in for the second one.
Yeah. God.
Yeah.
What a ripperoni on that one.
I know, man. I know. Everyone's crushed. But yeah, that's essentially me in a nutshell. That's old Chip.
Oh, sweet. Well, now that we know who you are completely, I guess I got a couple questions. So, do you feel like you're fully indoctrinated into the Sydney scene, or do you still feel some attachment to the Melbourne scene, even though you weren't there for very long?
I didn't know too many people in Melbourne Smash 4, and that's primarily because I would go to these tournaments with friends outside of Smash, right? So I was always, not to toot my own horn, but this is always everyone's origin story. You're always the best of your little group, and sometimes you'd go together and you'd probably be the one that would get the most out of the tournament, which is why you kept coming back. But unfortunately on my end, I didn't really see an incentive to go if I didn't have someone with me that I knew. And I wasn't really the type to really go out of my way to make new friends. Jack Gorman, I think, was really nice initially, and he was really welcoming. But he was always busy doing his TO stuff, so I didn't really find anyone to really
The curse of a TO is that you want to be there for everybody, but you're never going to be able to.
100%, yeah. And it's with new players, you always try to be accommodating to them, but I was a shy kid back then as well, so I didn't really, again, like I said, go out of my way to talk to anyone. I wish I did, because a lot of the faces that I see, especially when I traveled for Ultimate, I still see around, like Duan. I remember playing Duan in Smash 4 bracket. Who else? Re-Raze, back when he was, I'm pretty sure his tag was just Bin back then. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Who else? Extra as well. Back when he used to ride his bike to the tournaments. That was that was
ancient history.
Exactly, yeah. But
that tournament, what was it? What street was it?
Swanston Street. Smash at Swanston
Street. Was that the one at the EB Games where they went upstairs? Yeah, I went to one of those on my holiday trip to Melbourne that I just decided to have a free day for and rock up. That was a fun tournament.
It's the energy is always really good. I think especially towards the start of Smash 4, there were so many people. There was so much interest, which is why I heard about it, right? And when I went there, that EB Games is quite small. It's a great venue, but it's really small. So when you have all the setups going, there's no room to move. You can't even watch your friend's set. Your friend's like, oh, I'm going to be playing Winners Round 2. You're like, dope, I'll be there to catch it. There's just bodies everywhere. You're like, all right.
And the game of gunk builds up because everyone's sweating and everyone's oozing. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to hold your nose going through. But to answer your question, I've gone on a tangent. But to answer your question, I think being more consistent with attendance, especially with Sydney, and also having no existing friend group to fall back on.
Yeah, that's always really important.
Yeah, has put me in a position where I'm sort of really invested into the Sydney scene, and the guys are fantastic. They're really great. Chef has been an awesome sort of TO to really just grab a lot of new people in, because Ultimate has been very popular, and there's a really big surge, especially from the end of Smash 4 to Ultimate. So many new faces, so much young blood. And I sort of fell into that wave, and alongside people who also fell into that wave as well. So yeah, 100%. I think if there was a crew battle between states, I'm Team NSW, man. I'm sorry. I gotta do it.
What's that? Is there a word? Are you a Sydney soldier or I don't know. Is there a word for your allegiance?
I don't know.
Sydney Cider?
Sydney Cider?
Cider.
Melburnian?
Right.
Sydney Cider? I guess I am now. I guess for Smash?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. And, well, go on.
No, I just lost my train of thought. That's fine.
That's
Don't
okay.
worry about it, man.
I was going to say it's time that we give Olag, because he's been sitting here patiently waiting to open up.
I know, I've just been rambling on for so long.
I promise.
No, I've been fascinated.
Yeah, I've been interested as well. I didn't, because I looked up both of you guys and I didn't see any Smash 4 sets. And I was like, well, I can't make questions of comparison between Smash 4 anymore. I can't do my usual boomer routine. So we're just going to have to improv for the rest of that. But explain to me, Olag, how was your intro? You didn't touch Smash 4, or did you just only get in competitively in Ultimate?
Well, I mean, I was kind of the same with Chip. I had Brawl at the very, very beginning as a young 8-year-old playing the Sideways Wii remote. It was awesome. I had the time of my life. And then, got Smash 4, got the Wii U. Kind of regretted getting the console, but loved the game. So I, was playing that up until when Ultimate came out, end of 2019. And straight afterwards went overseas to Montreal in Canada for a university exchange.
Whoa.
So that was a nice fun experience. I'd been studying up on French and whatnot through high school and stuff. So French speaking Canada was pretty funky. But went over there and thought, look, outside of university, how am I actually supposed to make any sort of friends here? This is it's the middle of winter in Canada, is freezing. No one's going to be meeting up to do anything, except for the drum roll, the sweaty gamers in the Smash loft of Montreal. Right. So I decided, you know what, I'm pretty good at Smash Bros. I'm the best out of my friends. So show up to the weekly there, and got completely destroyed, and knew that I had to catch a bus back home probably about 4 hours later.
Oof.
And I was like, well, crap, I guess I can just maybe play a couple of friendlies, but what else is there to do? And then one of the other guys is like, oh, well, I mean, you speak English better than, the other people here, because everyone's kind of a mix of French and Canadian. And so they're like, yeah, just jump on the microphone if you want to. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, why not?
Just did that. And I basically started that probably within the first week of me being there. Just kind of doing weeklies and whatnot.
Wow.
And it was a pretty sudden introduction into both any sort of competitive esports scene, but also just the commentary too.
All my experiences with other people, it's usually they get a little bit more comfortable before they feel like jumping on the mic, but it sounds like it was pretty immediate for you.
Well, I think it was mainly because whatever sort of comfort level I was feeling, I think a lot of other people in the room were feeling slightly less confident on it.
Yes.
And so they're like, well, I mean, you kind of seem like the best option right now. And I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll give it a go.
Okay.
But yeah, and I mean, look, ever since then, I mean, I was immediately proven wrong. There are so many phenomenal commentators in Montreal, but I was just glad that I kind of got it in there, to the point where I could actually come back to Australia in August, I think, of that year. So about 8 months later. And yeah, came back, and then at least I had enough experience to be able to bring that to Australia, to the point where I was like, hey, I'm an okay commentator over there. Yeah. Hopefully that translates, and it did, I think. So, yeah.
That's really interesting, because it's actually one of the topics that I wanted to move on later, but I think since it's come up now, it's something that we can move on if you guys want. But it's the idea of new players hopping on. is kind of, I don't know, it's in a strange place for me at the moment, because I feel like a lot of scenes are sort of growing up, especially like here in Brisbane. There's a movement towards like, well, do we want to have like blocks of people who are set to be on? And in majors and sometimes regionals, it's already a thing where like, you're not really supposed to just hop onto the mic. You're supposed to have asked for permission first and been allowed onto the mic. But for me, getting on the mic, I've seen people come out of their shells a lot and gain a lot of confidence, and I feel like there's a place in weeklies for them where they are able to put themselves in an unfamiliar situation, sort of develop those skills. But at the same time, I'm now starting to see that, sometimes for the entertainment and for the lifeblood of the stream and the community and the tournament at large, it's better to have like structured commentators who know what they're doing. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? Do you feel like it should be more structured going into the future if we're going to be more growing up as a scene, or do you feel like we should still have those opportunities, and where would we might put them for the newer players?
This is a good question. This is a really good question, because I essentially started the same way as the way you're talking about. I was a new player and got roped into the mic, and I was rough the first couple times, but it ended up being okay eventually down the line. The question is how long, I guess, it takes, which varies from person to person. I think for a local, my thinking is for a local, maybe a smallish local that has a stream, I think it's perfectly fine to let some new players jump on and just, provided they're not being complete idiots, right?
Yeah.
Jump on, break out of their shell, have a good time. Maybe pair them up with someone who's a bit more experienced. That's always a good way to go about it, because at the very least, if it doesn't work out all right, you've still got someone doing some sort of... Exactly, you got someone doing heavy lifting, who knows the stuff and the scene. And like, it's very good back and forth, because for the viewer especially, you can have the new guys say like, oh, like, what was that? Like a really natural reaction. What the hell was that interaction right there? And then that like almost cues the other guy, and maybe even the Twitch chat as well, to be like, well, by the way, dude, this is what happened. And who's that? It's like, well, that's a legend, or something like that.
Yes.
That's
they
the
have
way I
something
see
to
it.
work with.
Exactly. Yeah.
That son is Ben Gold.
It's like, how the hell do you not know that guy?
The legend. Yeah. I'm sure Ben would very much appreciate somebody overreacting to them on stream. What about you, Olag? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I'm more or less in the same boat as Chip there. I feel like it's definitely like new players or sort of new commentators as well jumping on the mic at locals. I think it definitely has its place there. I think it can be a little bit tougher, especially when the stream as a whole, I think, is trying to sort of expose both like their players and just their scene broadly to, I guess, now more than ever, even just a global audience. I think you just want to make sure you have like all guns are blazing for that, both on on the microphone and behind the scenes and everything like that.
Yeah.
But for locals, I would definitely actively encourage people who are interested in commentating to talk to their TOs and stuff when locals go back, or even to people who are putting together the streams for all these online tournaments. I think now more than ever is probably a really great time to get practice with it.
Yes.
100%.
If you've got a semi-decent microphone, and even if you've got like a semi-decent internet connection, just jump in the the booth, so to speak, with whoever's running the stream. And I think that is a really, really good way to start.
At the moment especially, because I know I've been slack with commentary. I haven't done any weeklies or anything like that. I usually want to be at the venue to do them. So a lot of the traditional commentators just aren't there, and you're going to have people who are new and want to have a shot at it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I've been doing a lot of online tournaments, I think basically since COVID had begun. And I mean, in that time, I've casted with a few people who I'd never even heard of, as people, let alone as players or commentators or anything like that. And I've been really, really pleasantly surprised by how many people have just so much passion for the game, and also are able to actually communicate that through to a stream. There's a lot of kind of hidden talent out there, I think, in terms of casting. So hopefully that continues on as well when offline tournaments start back up, and people are, I think, just a little bit more confident to kind of approach the microphone.
Speaking of
'cause-
this hidden talent, right? These new commentators, new entries into the scene, new players. What do you think, like, that you would want to say to these guys who are jumping on? Like, because my biggest thing that I always want to tell people is just like have confidence in yourself. You know, like the amount of times where I see actually bad commentators jump on, like they usually just keep getting on because they have confidence and they have the ability to just like put themselves out there and ignore whatever hate or criticism they're getting, and eventually, like most of the time, these guys just improve on their own, you know, and then they get to a point where they start to get a vibe for what their style is, for what they want to do, and people get better over time just generally, you know. So that's my biggest advice to a lot of like people who want to do more commentary is just like put yourself out there, do more of it, and then don't be afraid, you know, because people want to just hear your voice most of the time. And if you have very specific tastes like I do, you're not judgmental of commentators. You're not like, I hate this guy. You're just like, okay, well, whatever. I might mute the stream.
I'd absolutely agree with that, and I'd say further to that as well. I mean, if there's a bit of commentator bias as well, rather than just sort of saying, oh, you know, I hate this guy. I think a lot of the thing that I noticed as well when I was overseas looking at a lot of Australian streams, especially just like for the sort of small weeklies and stuff, there was just a lot of what seemed to kind of just be almost like friends casting other friends' games.
Yep.
Which, and obviously with such a, first off, like quite a relatively internal scene that Australia has, because no one's really traveling overseas compared to, you know, like the US, Canada, Mexico and whatnot. That's all pretty interchangeable.
Yep.
But I'd say, yeah, with that in mind as well, there seemed to be a very, very strong history in terms of the players and the commentators, and just like a story that I wasn't really a part of. So I thought that was actually quite difficult as an audience member as well to kind of listen to. So I'd say, I think for people who are looking to commentate as well, try and take a bit of a step back as well, and just kind of look at it as two players, you know, playing a game as opposed to two people you've known. You know, like, oh, you know, I went to dinner with this guy last week and whatnot. You know, like, oh, I played Among Us with this guy last week. It was great fun.
Yeah.
And there doesn't necessarily have to be like as much of a story outside of the game, as I think a lot of people might be initially trying to push.
Yes.
I don't know. I'd say that's probably my main piece of advice. Is that I think it's definitely try and focus on the game itself, and then when it comes to all the outside stuff, maybe potentially between games if it's really that important. But yeah, I think a commentator's strength comes from probably how well they can actually cast what's directly in front of them. As opposed to, you know, what they want to talk about from something that wasn't quite as relevant to begin with.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I see where you're coming from, because I feel like there's a realm of relevance and there's a realm of irrelevance. But I tentatively disagree, based on the idea that I feel like there's two forms of commentary that most commentators fall into. That's like analysis based, where you're very good at breaking down what people are seeing, and whether you do that like explaining the ins and outs of the game, or whether you do that based on like color, adding some sort of vernacular to what's going on. But I also think there's an element of like heart of the game, where you build storylines on certain players, and to do that, that's where I feel like the line of relevance and irrelevance comes from. You might like a player because you spent time with them, and so you're just talking about that, or you're talking about what kind of person they are. But I feel like if you can thread that into the game, that actually builds something that people want to get behind. You know, you want to build the story about these two players. But to be able to do that, it depends on the context. Obviously, if you're talking about two pools people, you might not have the time to do that if you're kind of assuming they're not going to make it through. But if you're in, you know, regional top or even like local top eights, you want to be able to talk about these players and what the stakes are for them, like what their goals are and what these matches mean for them, I think, because adding to that story is what gets viewers hooked. But what do you think, Chipotle?
I'm actually leaning towards your side, actually, Cap. I'm I'm sorry.
I think there's a fair
all right.
argument
I
both
understand.
ways. I don't think it's
Yeah.
necessarily
Yeah.
two sides.
I think, yeah, it's a lot of gray area. I think 100% it is very good to get fresh eyes on a scene, especially one that's so sort of self-contained as Australia, that it's always good to get that new perspective because you get to shine a new light on things. At the same time, though, part of the fun of listening to some of my favorite commentators has been the way they break down the lore. And the history as well. So that's why really good advice is for anyone looking to sort of go that further step is to learn your history, is to look back at some of the best Smash 4 VODs, which is what I did when I started getting really into commentary. Like,
Wow.
for Ultimate, you go back and look at some of the old Smash 4 VODs, you know, Jesmo and Extra, BAM 8 or BAM 9, something like that. Like really good sets when Queensland was like popping off. Like I love my history, especially when it comes to like Smash, especially for Australia. I think it's just fascinating because I'm in that weird camp where I did start and play a little bit at the beginning, and I recognized some of the faces, but then I disappeared. And then coming back, I'm like, oh, maybe I can see their journey and how that translated to Ultimate. You know, I find that like, did they play any different characters? Did they, you know, what's their performance like? How do they feel about this game compared to the other one? You know, like
What's their play style?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because with fighting games and Smash by extension in general, it's such an like intimate sort of one-on-one situation that I feel like knowing the guy behind the controller always makes it an easier and more entertaining time when you're talking about him just before the match as well, or him or her, whoever they may be. Yeah.
I think that type of discussion, unfortunately, is best suited to those small talk moments in between games.
Yeah.
You know the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where it's like, what do we fill this space with? Oh, how was your tournament run? Oh, yeah, it was good. I think that's the sort of stuff where you want to put in the narrative because that's where the space is. What I don't want to say that I think Olag's wrong either. Like, I felt bad sort of saying I disagree because now I feel like I've shoehorned you into a position. Because what it comes down for me is like different skills. And that's where the experience comes from. It's like, where are your skills? Like, some people might try and be like the play-by-play, but they're not actually receiving the information correctly on the screen, you know? They might get a call wrong, like, oh, he air dodged there and he didn't, or he up smashed there and he didn't, like he up tilted or something. And those things can bother some people, but you develop skills in the other department. I feel like the easiest skill that new players can have is just knowing the scene, which is why I recommend people do it.
Yeah.
I think analysis and giving color to the screen and with your words is a lot more of a difficult skill, and it takes practice. So if you want to work on that and be a good commentator, that's where you go.
100%. Yeah, it's when it comes to doing color commentary as well, because the game is so fast and so many interactions happen, especially in Ultimate, within the space of a short time. It's so difficult to, especially if you're really about the game, to narrow down a play that you really want to look at. When it's like 5 things just happened, you got to speak about one of them, because if you want to speak about all 5, the stock's gone and you're still rambling about this play that happened 20 seconds ago, you know?
Yeah, you got to be able to say what you need to say and then move on quick.
Exactly. But you can get around that by, again, like you said, knowing the player, knowing the scene, and then just chalking it up to, you know, oh, that's a Ben Gold moment, you know, like, or something like that. And then that's like,
Ben Gold's going to do something Ben Gold here.
Yeah. Or he's cooking up something. That's a Ben Gold read. You know, he's going to down smash on that platform. And you're like, okay, that's a Ben Gold moment. And that just condenses, like, people know what you're talking about when you say something like that. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, huge read. They already make that connection in their head. So I completely understand. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the skills, the styles, and the comes into Smash for the older players as well, not the more experienced players, because when you're doing commentary, you tend to find like the partners you work best with, and that's, I think, you know, a great way to introduce you guys as a partnership, because people said, oh, make sure you get Chipotle Olag. So
oh no.
How do you guys feel like your styles like work together when you do commentary?
I can't say I've thought too much about this, but no, go ahead, Alex. You haven't spoken in a while.
Well, yeah. Well, look, I was going to also just quickly butt in as well about the previous point too, It was interesting you were saying that the point about one of the sort of fundamental and earlier skills you can get of commentary is to sort of understand the scene. I just found it interesting that when I'd come in as well, I'd had experience in virtually every other field but the scene as well of Australia. So I don't know. I would probably say that might be where the sort of disconnect has been found there.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yeah, I think because the only thing that I didn't really know in any sort of depth about, I think for commentary when I got here was the players, which is a pretty important factor when you're talking on a microphone about people in front of you. But so I would definitely rather still say that like that lore behind the individual players is definitely amazing to delve into now that I've been here for a little while. But I mean, I think as you said, there's definitely that line where it just becomes slightly irrelevant. So I think that was probably more the point I was trying to make there. So, but I'm glad we got that point there.
I agree with you. Yes.
But to the second question as well of our sort of individual or our group commentary style, I think from the get-go, I definitely found that Chip, I think obviously being a more experienced player than me, but also I think just being in the scene for a lot longer, had a really, really strong grasp of just like in-game analysis, which I thought was super fascinating to listen to. And I think that has definitely been, I would say sort of like that part of the dynamic has definitely been his. I feel like I've been trying to work on it more in this sort of online sphere. But I think, from the get-go, I personally found that like we were very, at the beginning, like very reactive to like the energy of an individual set. And so I think I tried to start working on keeping that energy regardless of what we were commentating to begin with.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I think from the very beginning of commentating, usually the easiest games to commentate are, the really, really hype ones where you genuinely are getting excited for it, but then the hardest ones to commentate.
You have so much material to work with.
Yeah, exactly right. And I guess that goes back to, knowing the players. You've got, all of this full backstory. You've got, a crowd behind you, and you're just genuinely passionate about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But then I felt like earlier on, I started to try and push that energy into other sets where there wasn't necessarily as much backstory, or there wasn't necessarily as much going on. Like, you've got like a Pac-Man and a Mega Man fighting each other from across the stage, and then you still have to try and you have to fake it till you make it, really. But you can still get excited for even the smallest of interactions. So I think I tried to push that side more because I knew that the analysis would come a lot less naturally, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I think in my sort of experience, I feel that like the energy originally started from my side, and I feel like we've both kind of gotten to the same level. And I think the analysis started definitely on Chip's side.
When you say energy, do you mean like you always just want to make it hype, or do you feel like you sometimes need to bring the right energy to the right sets and still maintain like an entertaining aura? Because I've gone back and forth. Sometimes I feel like when you try and be really hype for sets that aren't hype, it feels a little like uncomfortable. But
it feels a bit forced, yeah.
But there are some times when you just bring like a different type of energy, where it's like a slower, like more relaxed energy, but it's like, I don't know, it suits the play more and makes it entertaining in its own way. So is that what you try and do, or do you like find ways to make it hype no matter what?
I mean, hype, I feel, is something that is more reactive. I don't think I'll actively try and bring that into a set.
Nice.
I mean, if something genuinely entertaining happens, then the hype happens.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't sort of walk into a set, and I'm sure Chip would feel exactly the same way. You can't really walk into a set kind of actively trying to bring an overwhelming amount of hype. Obviously, excitement. If it's later parts of a bracket, or if there's a huge rivalry, then you can definitely bring that to the microphone. But I think giving different energy, according to the set that's happening, is definitely super important. I mean, even if you look at not just esports commentary, but you look at other, sports commentary as well. Even though they're all entertaining commentary, all of them have such different styles anyway.
Yes.
So I think trying to sort of, pick and choose, parts, like sometimes you can really just have like a little bit of silence as well while something's happening, just to kind of let something play out. You don't have to have, just a constant, almost like, Melbourne Cup style, just on and on and on. As it gets longer and longer, the game, just gets higher and higher pitched and whatnot. We can't really do that the whole time for 7 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think bringing like the right energy according to just whatever commentary style seems to fit, I think has been something I've been trying to do as much as possible. I don't know. I've like, as a side note, I've still been super fascinated by like golf commentary, for example. It's just been so subdued,
Wow.
but you can really tell that they're just incredibly fascinated by what's happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think you can definitely try and like take those weird like small aspects of different sports into esports as well.
Well, that's what I was actually going to ask about next. Like, I was going to ask, like, do you watch any other esports or sports? Because their techniques often are sometimes things that I look at when I want to like add something to my repertoire. It's golf. What kind of things from golf do you like to bring in?
Well, it's honestly quite strange, but I feel, especially in golf, obviously there's going to be a lot of downtime. So I think even just the ability to just be able to talk about, what this sort of player's history are, going in, like, in between shots as well, I think is super important. I think being able to talk in the downtime as opposed to in the moment, I feel is just as important. But at the same time, I think, I don't know, I'd say if it's relatively subdued still because not as much is happening, and I think that works really well, especially with, I'd say maybe earlier matches in a bracket where there's nothing that is particularly flashy or particularly exciting, but you can still tell that there's like a bit of an intensity there as well, because both players still want to win. And I think if they look back at their VODs and just see two commentators just kind of half-assedly kind of looking at it, being like, oh, yep, cool, that was another fourth great back air, fantastic, cool.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Great
let's
back air.
let's take a great, nice back air, yeah. Let's take a look at the bracket for the next match, yeah. It can kind of be a little bit disheartening as a player as well to kind of listen back to, and I can understand it would be the same with people wanting to watch.
Yeah, it cuts pretty deep when someone. I think most of us have been there before, where you like go back to watch your set and you're like excited if you've gotten a big win or something that means a lot to you, and people are like, "Oh, yep, cool, sweet, nice," and then you're just like, "Oh."
It's, dude, it boils my blood. I'm kidding. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I remember, when that happened for the first time, I was like, dude, my first win on stream, I'm gonna watch it back, and like either the comms was really quiet or like the people just weren't into it at all. They're like, oh, sweet, DDD wins. All right, next. And I was like, oh, okay, all right,
Thanks.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
I think it's a sort of like a responsibility to try and make sure that doesn't happen as a commentator. But even then, like, I came back from that as a player and go, oh yeah, like I'm just part of like a bigger scene at the end of the day, and like you have to make more of a splash than your first on stream win to like be noteworthy sometimes.
Correct,
Like
yeah.
you have to fucking make stuff happen.
It boils, it boils. It feeds back into the narrative of what it means to really like break in and make a name for yourself. Because it's like,
Yeah.
all right, you won on stream, so what? But if you won on stream into top 8, then that's like oh my god, that's a narrative,
Yes.
and people get up excited over that narrative.
What are you guys' like pet peeves about people in commentary? Mine was going to be like that when people don't give credit to the players in the set, even if you by chance are entertaining for the viewers, which I think it's unlikely when you are completely irrelevant to the set. But if you're going crazy, out of this world irrelevancy to the set, and the players are upset about that, I feel like that's like my biggest pet peeve as a commentator. But what are yours? And here's a crutch. No, what's the opposite of a crutch? An obstacle, something like that you guys have for this question. You're not allowed to say nice back air is my pet peeve.
Oh, well then, Chip, you can go first.
Damn it! Come on, man, don't do me like this. All right. This is a tough one. Because on commentary, it's always like you should
Pretty
be able to
subjective.
say, yeah, exactly. It's subjective. So people say what they want, and different people have different tastes. Which is why I don't think, unless you're outright just putting this dude on blast for no reason whatsoever. There's very few things that you can just say that are offensive to me. But I would say, I don't know, the maybe just the constant, I guess this is not so much of a pet peeve, but like the constant reliance of just saying moves back to back to back to back. I know it's like it reflects off the nice back air thing, but when that's the entirety of your commentary in sort of one moment, where it's just like you're just talking about the moves and the strings, and that's it. You know, there's no sort of further analysis on top of that.
Yeah.
I feel a bit tired, I guess, because it's like, maybe it's not for me, but when I'm watching the stuff on stream, I know what move is coming out. I want to know more about that move, right?
I want to know why they chose it. I want to know what it means in the set. I want to know, etc. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. There's that, and then there's also the I mean, it's a bit of a meme. That's the Smash 4. You know, that's another one where like they both die and they're on 2 stocks and it's reset, and it's like, oh, back at Smash 4. I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah.
Overdone jokes is a tough one, you know? You'll see something, you'll be like, oh, that's so clever, I gotta say that. And by the time you get your next opportunity, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
It's not funny anymore.
It's past its use by date. I think, it's different for different people, you know? That's the Smash 4. You know, like, in Australia as well, we have a lot of Australianisms that get passed down a lot. Like, cerebral was a really big word that was thrown around.
Scuffed as well.
Scuffed. X-Player is sick, you know? That's a really good one. Like, I like that one from time to time. I don't like it when it's all you say. What else is there? Madman? Madman is another one.
Is a madman, yeah.
Is a madman. Again, these are all things that are fine when they're in the moment and they're quite natural, but when they're used as sort of fillers, let's say you don't know what to say and you're like, oh, I gotta pluck a word. All right, I'll use that. Then it's like, you can feel that it's like, oh, okay, maybe that's a bit too much of low-hanging fruit. But who knows? I might just be talking out my ass.
No, I definitely agree. I feel like there were definitely some sayings that I laughed at or thought were awesome to hear the first time around. But as I kept continuing to hear them, I got sick of them. The big one for me was like, oh, Roll reads, guy works at a bakery, read his entire life, like works at the library, that kind of stuff. Yeah. I went, I think the biggest thing for me is it's a tough gig. You can't rely on like the same old sayings all the time. You have to mix it up. But it's not like doing those things are wrong. Like you said, like when you're in the moment and you're just trying to vibe, then those things come out and it doesn't really matter because the moment will speak for you in that case. But yeah, I definitely agree. How about you, Oleg?
Look, I'd say my main one I think kind of went a little bit off what Chip was saying about, you know, Australianisms and whatnot. I think broadly speaking, I'd say a lot of commentators will use, you know, a couple of in-jokes or kind of, you know, stuff that, you know, the scene might understand, but I think to a broader audience, it wouldn't kind of fly. I distinctly remember watching, I think it was one of the Sydney weeklies, and everyone kept talking about Ellis, even though the tag on screen was at Lowe's, and I'm just like, who is Ellis? Who is this guy? And I know it seems like such a small thing, but I feel like, you know, those sort of small things can leave out a lot of people in the audience. So I think just trying to avoid a lot of, you know, in-jokes or just kind of, well, first names probably as well for players, I think is a little bit odd, unless, you know, I guess Ben Gold you can get away with, but...
Yeah, but Ben Gold had like a transformative stage, you know, where people would take their time to start referring him as Ben Gold instead of Mr. L, and it took a while for that to happen, and now it's acceptable. But right. I still catch myself as well going like, oh, Finn's doing really well, and then I'll be like, oh, fuck, I can't say that because there's so many people who are not going to know who that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and look, it's not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily irk me like hugely, but I mean, yeah names in general, I think I feel can leave out a lot of people. Something that does really annoy me, and I know that I was pretty guilty of it at the beginning of Ultimate, was, you know, if there's like a quick button check, you know, both players just SD 3 times, we'll start the real set. And then one of the commentators goes, all right, so game 1 goes to X, you know, whoever shows up on the win screen. God, that now that I look back at a couple of my sets from Montreal, I'm like, oh, what? That's not funny at all.
I think I've done that at some point, almost definitely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I definitely did that a lot, and it really is just like looking at yourself as like a young teenager, and you're like, oh, what's wrong with you, man? Like, what are you doing? Come on. Didn't have to have the Justin Bieber haircut. Didn't have to say, you know, game 1 goes to, freaking Venom from Montreal. Yeah, cool.
The
Great.
biggest of knee slappers. Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. The chuckles, they were everywhere. Oh, man.
That's like a day one commentary option. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like the
exactly.
day one strat, and it gets exposed mad early. People find the counterplay. They're like, we're shutting this down.
Before we get too elitist, because I'm about to go into a triad, or try that word, of things I dislike, and then they're going to be things that I've done in the past. Why don't we move to a more positive topic? The things that we like in commentary. So the easiest way I find about this is like, who are your favorite commentators? They don't have to be in Smash. They can be in like other esports or other sports if you want. But what are you guys' like favorites, and why are they your favorites? What do they bring to the table?
Ooh, all right. Let me think. I watch a lot of FGC stuff. So before I got really into Smash Ultimate, I played a lot of Street Fighter 5 specifically, and I was pretty half decent at it as well. So watching a lot of Capcom streams, and especially the streams of old, when I was growing up, I really liked the hype guys. So like IFC Yipes and Tasty Steve, right? Guys that would just be infectious balls of energy, and everything they say is like a clip. You can clip that and you can use that in anything. I really like the way that they're just able to make these obscure pop culture references that it's like, who knows this? But for some reason, it's still really funny. And even though you're not about, like, you're not in the know, you're still in on the joke almost. At least they make you feel like you're in on the joke as well. Just because of their delivery or something in their inflections. Like, man, that's such a funny clip. I don't know what it means, but it's so funny. That I really admire. But again, like I said, as I've sort of grown older and gotten more into it, I really like Sajam and like that sort of really analytical breakdown of being able to condense a lot of information into just sort of very quick bursts of information, which is what I feel is the optimal way of commentary, and something that I aspire to sort of achieve. That, like, all right, let me just break down the play-by-play and also do some really quick analysis on the side, just bundle the two together, because realistically that's what you have to do when it comes to Smash commentary. Is like, you can't really, I don't think you can do color and play-by-play. You have to do both as a commentator in Smash. You have to pull aspects from both.
My favorite thing
no time.
that Sajam does is when he reads the player on the stream and then it happens.
Yep.
Because he'll be talking all this stuff, and then there's that magic moment that he puts it together and he says, this person's going to do this because of the things that I've been saying, and then they do it. That for me is like,
that is
gasm.
A beautiful moment. That's the moment every commentator, especially when it comes to like games like this, when it's a thinking man's game, when that moment lines up, you set the cards, you're like, all right, let's say, for example, look at the way Bowser's approaching. He's approaching with forward airs. He's spacing them really well. His conditioned shield, and then it comes to that clutch moment, and you're like, tomahawk command grab. And it happens, and it gets the top row, and it gets the stock for it, and you're like, dude, that was pretty good. Like, at that moment, he's gonna 100% go for it. Or like, you look at the way, I don't know, let's say at Lowe's Bowser, in neutral, he'll use Bowser Bomb. He'll drop shield and use Bowser Bomb to scoop the approaches, because he knows people are just gonna dash up shield, right? That's a really popular option in Ultimate. So we get the scoop, and if you dash up shield, he'll get the shield break, and if you spot dodge, no one's thinking about that, right? No one's thinking about that scoop option. It might just scoop you as well. Everyone's just scared. So like, reading those moments, and especially when they, like, obviously not all the time, they don't happen all the time, but when they do happen, I really love that. Like,
they're quite enormous cum moments, for sure.
100%. For lack of a better word.
What commentators give you the quite enormous cum?
Man, that's a great. Oh, jeez. Oh, it's a very loaded question. Look,
it's quite loaded. Yes.
Look, I mean, unfortunately, in terms of esports, I haven't really delved into too many others. I didn't really have too much exposure to other competitive scenes before Smash Bros, and I hadn't really been, sort of too fascinated in it. But I'd say again before Smash Bros, just in general. So I feel like a lot of the ones that I've really been looking at have been in the Smash scene anyway. I feel like the one who I've actually been really, really fascinated with, and he came out to Sydney for Phantom as well, was actually Rodney as well. I don't know what it was about that guy. He didn't seem real. I know this sounds really strange. He didn't seem like a real person. He seemed like just a caricature of like a larger than life like commentary type. And I don't know what it was. Like he showed up, he had, you know, like the beret on, he had the like square glasses, and I think like the presence of him outside, or like, you know, from behind or not behind the mic rather, as well as just, you know, when he was commentating a set, was, I feel like they were on par with each other, which is really rare. So yeah, like the fact that I think outside of that, he was also doing like stand-up comedy and singing and stuff. He just seemed like such a larger than life human being as well as a commentator. So I feel like, yeah, with his actual style of commentary just being, you know, super excited and almost like an improv style, he'd kind of continue on from whoever was talking and, you know, go yes and etc. etc. I thought, his sort of performance style, more so than just commentary, I thought was really, really cool. And yeah, I think he's probably the sort of main one that I'd be bringing up.
That's funny. I don't think I've heard of him, so maybe he's not real. But
or maybe.
Uh-oh.
We gotta check the VODs. We gotta check the Phantom VODs, because I don't know.
It makes a lot
it was
of
just
sense.
Big Win Beer commentating by himself.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty interesting.
I'd watch that.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, he's not bad.
He's pretty good. Some might say the best.
and some people were recommending him. I wish I could like have taken a survey and then show the numbers on what people think are like the best commentators. That would have actually been something I should have done. Anyway,
you still got time.
Yeah, I could go back. I don't think I've got enough effort for that though.
Oh.
No, I don't. I think it's really interesting to see like those different commentators and like what their styles bring, because you'll see that like people bring stuff outside of Smash sometimes, and people get inspired from stuff inside of Smash. But I've lost my train of thought. Sorry, I'm reading off of my document, and I was trying to find a segue into something else, but then I read the wrong thing, and I've completely stuffed myself. That's okay. What I wanted to talk about was we will be doing segments. We're not doing the speed run, because I could not for the life of me think of a way to do it that wouldn't just be a mess. I originally had it so you guys would have code words, and one of you would shout your code word, and whoever said your code word first would get it. But then I feel like there'd just be too much shouting.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
that's a lot of yelling.
It'd probably be better in person, but yeah.
Yes,
true.
see that in person it would have made sense.
Great content.
But we do have Hypotheticaps and Ganon's Advocate.
Oof.
So Hypotheticaps I want to go right into, because I want to break up. I've still got more topics for the round table discussion, but I want to break that up with some other segments. And eventually we're also going to be doing Twitter questions and Twitch questions, of course. So we're going to roll straight into that. Do we have the transition on the little... Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, that's
Look at
sick. That's so sick.
Okay, so if you don't know what hypothetic caps are, basically I just delve into some sort of weird stupor where I come up with these dumb scenarios. The whole point of them is that you have no idea what you would do because the scenarios are so crazy, but they also are relevant to what you guys are as people in the Smash scene. So the first one, I'll give you both a chance to answer this one, and you can build off of each other's answers if you want. So whoever answers first, you got to do the groundwork. The first one is, you are suddenly cursed with a really high-pitched, squeaky voice by a demon who lives in your freezer. After cursing you, he says you can switch voices with one other person that you know, cursing them with the squeaky voice instead, but it's permanent, and they will know that what you've done after you switch. What do you do?
Jesus. Oh.
I mean, who's got the highest pitch voice? You know, because I feel like we could kind of just swap with them, and Oh wait, no, then you'd get their voice, wouldn't you?
Yeah, then you'd both have high-pitched voices.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose because I get the
Nothing wrong with
high-pitched
high-pitched
voice.
voices. This one just also happens to be squeaky.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is ooh. And they know that I
you're
switch with
just
them.
straight up cursing them.
That's the kicker, because that's a straight up call out. Like, because then they're like, yeah, I didn't like this guy too much. I'll give him the dud voice or the squeaky.
You
voice.
have
And he's like,
become you don't have to get. You can just cop it if you want to. You could be excellent young men of the Australian public, of the Smash community.
who would I palm it off to? No, I'm palming it
Yeah.
off. 100%, I'm palming this off. Like,
Somebody's
me too.
going down.
it's not my voice, man. Anything
Yeah.
but the voice.
Are they going to tell? Are they going to tell the world that
They can.
Olag was the one, or Chip was the one who did it?
I don't know if many people would believe them. They'd be like,
That's-
"Oh, he had a demon in his freezer who gave him this voice that he switched with me."
That's a good point. That's a great point, actually. Oh,
Yeah.
Who's going to believe them? And we can tell them that in their silky smooth voice as well.
Yeah.
They're like,
Suck
who
it.
will believe
Yeah.
him? They're like, man, that guy's got such a nice voice. We have to believe anything he says.
That means
Yeah.
that, oh, dude, I'll just get a voice actor. I'll just
Yeah.
switch with a voice
Ooh.
actor, leave them in hysterics, take their job.
Which voice actor?
Who's
gonna-
the highest paid voice actor?
Oh, it'd probably have to be Justin Roiland, but I don't know if you'd want to take his.
Oh, I don't know if I take his voice. That's true.
That's the
I'd
squeaky
probably
one.
go
Maybe like Troy Baker or something like that. Someone like a cool guy.
Yeah, I was going to say Nolan North or maybe like Travis Willingham as well.
Oh, Travis
yep.
Willingham's
The-
pretty dope. Yeah.
Man, voice of Thor. Oh my god,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
Voice of Guile as well, I think.
True. Yeah, I could say flash kick and then I could actually mean it too.
And actually do it as well. You steal his powers. You steal Guile's powers as well.
Oh my god,
You could just start flash kicking in real life.
that's
You
amazing.
just gotta crouch. You just gotta hold down. Oh,
Yeah, you still do the inputs.
yep.
Giving a guy squeaky voice to be able to do a flash kick in real life, I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, trade it off. Palm it off to a famous voice actor. They're not going to believe the story of the demon in my fridge. And easy clap. I now have their job, and I can cast even better. Dude.
The true tragedy of the story, though, is that you became the demon in their fridge. So think about that. All right.
That's
Makes you
all right.
think. Yeah.
It's okay.
Wow,
I live in
very
Canada.
deep.
I'm used to being cold. It's fine. We'll be
All right. There's always a second scenario. Usually I do a long extended one, but this one I thought was better. Aliens invade the world and abduct all of the Smash players. They say they will let your world go free if you provide some entertaining Smash sets with you guys commentating together. Which players do you pick and why?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good question. I like this one. Look, Alex, you can go first. No pressure.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, thanks. Sorry, I was chomping at the bit. Goddamn. I feel like I'd really, in terms of just like pure technical skill, I'd really want Shadrew. I think is the first player.
Oh my god, that's who I would have gone for.
Yeah, I just think I think in terms of just like technical skill and being able to just watch the character, but also not get so hung up on the inputs that I'd be stressing out, be like, that was a prox forward tilt, because I don't know any of that stuff about Ken, so I could be like, yeah, he got a couple of kicks in, look at that, he's awesome.
Yes.
So I feel like that would be probably the easiest both to cast for, but also I think the most entertaining, at least for one character. God, who'd the second one be though? Jeez. I don't know. Chip, do you have a particular play you'd want to slide in the second round there?
Yeah, I'd probably put Shrix in. Yeah, I'd sub Shrix in. I think every match that I've seen with Shrix, for the most part, has been a nail biter because he moves so fast. He's probably my favorite player to watch. That actively sometimes comes down to a local in New South Wales. So it's always good seeing how explosive, because he switches between Raw and Chrom, obviously. It's really good seeing that dynamic flip-flop. And when he plays Chrom, it's like you are threading the needle every time. Because even though you're neutral and your advantage is insane, your disadvantage is like, that's it. You're a glass cannon. You know, you get copped once, game over. So seeing him bail out of disadvantage, seeing him steal the game off of one neutral win, I think it's amazing. And like, you know, it's not any like low to mid tier gimmick as well, right? It's like, this is just a lot of just pure sortie fundies, fast aggressive play, you know, so fast. I think that's the only word I have to describe. It's just really fast. So him versus Shadru, I think that's pretty dope. I'd watch that.
I had to quickly look up whether these guys had played before, because I was like, man, Strix versus Shadru actually sounds mega hype. But they have, and I can't believe I haven't seen the sets. Yeah. So the aliens already have VODs in case they invade.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
right. They've got history then.
Okay.
They have lore.
There's a law. Yeah. Okay. You know what? There's a law. I thought that meant it was like, it's already been done, so we can't do it. So we're dead.
No.
They've just kidnapped everyone.
There's just more to build on. In case anyone's wondering, Shadru's got the 1 win, and Strix has got 2.
Oh, that's a bit of story there. It's pretty even, which is good.
Oh man, I cannot wait until we go back to offline tournaments and we can see them again at a major.
That'd be amazing.
Yes. But that final question is also a great segue back into the roundtable discussion I wanted to have, which is like what you guys find entertaining, like what some of your favorite players are. Was obviously, that was just a reframed question of that. But what are some of your favorite like characters to commentate? Like, which ones do you think bring the most fun to the cast? But also, like, what are your favorite things about casting, like that happen in game that get you super hype?
Oh man, what a loaded question.
Yeah, well, look, one of my favorite characters that I got to watch a lot of overseas, which I still really, really enjoy watching, is a really, really good Ganondorf.
Yes.
Like a really scary Ganondorf is, I mean, I think just the amount of like mental anguish that the opponent kind of crumbles under just looking at a low tier character and being like, why am I getting 3-stocked and they're at like 40% because I'm being able to hit them? Like,
it's the iconic like low tier as well, you know. They pull out the Ganon and it's immediately mega hype. I don't know what it is, because if you pull it out,
you feel it somewhere. Yeah, it's God, I don't know.
You can't pull out like Kirby or Little Mac and people go wow. Like, people will still go wow, but nowhere near as much as they do for Ganon. He's got that mega element about him.
If you pull out the Kirby or the Little Mac, you're just thinking, okay, well, look, they're looking for a free trip to the losers round. Like, they pull out the Ganondorf, and then everyone kind of sits forward. They're like, oh, okay,
yeah.
Where's this come from?
Yeah. You're straight up making a statement when you put that little dot on Ganondorf. It's like, oh.
Shoutouts to Sifo for picking Ganondorf in hype sets. I think the last time that I saw it was on stream for the Arcadian in Queensland. Did you guys see that one?
That was Mid-Level Madness, right? Was it that one?
Oh,
that
was
Arcadian?
It called Mid-Level Madness?
There's only been one Queen. Has there only been one Queensland Arcadian?
Yeah, I think there's only been one Queensland Arcadian.
I didn't see the set, but I did.
You might have heard it.
Yeah, probably.
From across the room. I think people were going absolutely bananas. I went a little bananas for it. But it's an interesting...
I didn't catch that one, unfortunately, with Sifo. But I mean, I definitely saw him at Metashift, I think, playing doubles. That was that was super intense. I think we were actually casting, I think, the match that I'd seen with him. You and me, Cap. Wow,
yeah.
Fancy that. That's crazy.
So you are familiar with this Ganon then. That's good.
Yeah,
I don't know about doubles. Doubles is an interesting topic, though. What do you guys feel like for doubles? For me, I love commentating doubles, but I don't necessarily... I know that it's not like the most popular thing on the table, you know? It's kind of like the vegetables in a meal sometimes that people don't want to eat, you know? But you still want to have it on your plate.
I mean...
I think...
Oof. I mean, sorry to cut you off there, but...
No, go.
Yeah, doubles is a tough one because no one especially in Australia, no one really knows what's going on. It's a lot of just wild swings and wild hits, save for a few people, right? I think
Yep.
Corvid from Victoria is a really good doubles player, and for the most part, he seems to understand the game from that level as well. On top of being a really high-ranked PR level Victorian player. At the same time, though, it's 100% like you say. It's when you get given a comm slot for a doubles, like a doubles segment, it's like, ooh, like, how do I approach this? I'm happy to be on the mic, but at the same time, what can I gain from this that I can apply to singles? Because it's not nearly as intimate. It's just there's so much going on. With like 4 people on the screen that it's like you find it difficult to digest information, and any analysis you have just, I don't know, it's burrowed down to the very, very basic. It's almost like I'm going back to playing Smash for the first time. It's like, oh, big hit, spark, kill, he die. That's basically what the commentary sort of boils down to at that point. So I'm not too enthused about it, but I have a good time. I think it's fine to just have a good time. I think the moment I try sort of taking it a bit too seriously is when it sort of starts to crumble, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, I think one of the sort of first slots that I had in Australia was doubles at OHN, and I think that was probably the first time Chip and I had actually commentated together. Yeah. In any sort of large sense. And I definitely still remember, just 2 Robs just down tilting a Bowser until, one of them just got a forward smash at about 200%. And it definitely has some phenomenal moments, I think, like doubles commentary anyway. But I think part of the reason why I felt like that was a really, really good set, and that was just a good block in general, was mainly because I don't think we took it anywhere near as seriously as we usually would for singles commentary. Because 9 times out of 10, people probably haven't even played together in doubles. So there's not really too much to base it on. It's really just going to be, 2 characters against 2 characters. And yeah, as Chip said, just, big hit, rock, make fire, etc., etc. Like there's nothing too in-depth analysis about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's when you stop saying words and you start just like reacting to the things that are going on.
Yeah, you make the same sounds as the character. Just like, yes.
Yeah, when you start...
It is tough. I think, does that have to do with the idea that I think not a lot of Australian players are like, serious about doubles? Like a lot of people are like, they're static doubles and they try hard in doubles, but are they like, all in on doubles? They obviously care more about singles. And I feel like that's also bleeds into the commentary scene. I feel like if maybe somebody was really into doubles, they could bring a level of like finesse into it. Because when I think of like, just try and list one off the top of your head who are like people who you I think are iconic for doubles commentary, and you won't be able to do it. But you could think of people who are iconic for top 8 scenarios, iconic for keeping you entertained in pools, iconic for like crew battle commentary. There's different avenues for people in different lanes. That's it. But do you guys reckon that there's like a way that people can be good at doubles commentary and bring a new life to it, or is it just the nature of like the style of the game that you think that it's just never going to be the thinking man's Smash that you can break down and make similar in an entertaining form to singles?
Ooh. You'd have to go at it for an insane amount of time, I think. Just because there's just so much going on. It would take probably so much more of the time needed to get really good at singles commentary, which by default singles and like viewership as well, just in Smash, right? It's all for singles, when it comes to doubles. I mean, if it's a fun time, yeah, sure. But even in their international events, right? Like doubles is like stream doubles. It's like a bit Resident
It's like
Sleeper.
I got the stream open waiting for singles to start, and that's the viewership. Yeah,
it's like the Twitch chat is like, oh, dude, singles waiting queue. Hell yeah, dude. Let's just big chill in here. And it's like, all right, well, if there's no interest in it in the first place, then you'd be hard pressed to find any commentators that really want to spend effort to polish up their doubles commentary to the point where it's like, yeah, this is a legitimate thing that, you know, we can actually sort of bring. At the same time, though, maybe that's what doubles needs. Maybe it needs some absolute crazy commentator to just elevate it to that next level. You know, I have no idea.
What do you think, Olag?
Well, I'd say by the same token, I think it probably needs some really, really crazy, you know, insane double specific players as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, not just casters, but I think having players that play in a very specific sort of double sense as opposed to single sense. Because I mean, all the doubles teams that we've seen, at least in Australia, I mean, the first one that comes to mind, at least, you know, obviously being biased Sydney siders, would be Purple H and Day.
That's a good one.
And I think they play really, really well together as a doubles team. But I mean, not necessarily in a way where you'll just think, oh, look, I you know, want to take them around the world. Like I want to, like I'd love to commentate every single one of their sets. But because I think it's just doubles commentary. First off, it's kind of just stressful if you take it too seriously.
Yeah.
Because if you miss one thing and then the chat, you know, will go insane because you're like, oh, did you not see that double downer from the other side of the stage by that DDD? And you're like, what?
It's
no,
like, bro.
Yeah, like
you almost have to talk two mouths at once.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
like, dude,
exactly.
I was watching the Warrior up tilt fart. Like, you know, this other dude, like, some crazy shit was going on the other side as well. You're like, man, I can't. My eyes, I'm cross-eyed the other way.
It was one of my biggest thank fuck moments when in Queensland we started to get more static teams for doubles, because originally we had the classic Jace Lumi, which was like, you know, they were one of the best in Australia. But then when other teams started forming, you get a sense of like, oh, this is their style, you know, like Nagima Shadru, they team a lot, and that style is just like throwing machetes into a blender, you know, it's just like ridiculously aggressive, team damage doesn't matter, like that sort of stuff is really fun for me. But ultimately the reason I asked the question is back to the debate of like, what would you guys rather have as a commentator's perspective, and also keeping in mind the viewers and the players. Would you rather, if an event had to choose between squad strike and doubles, what would you guys rather? And do you think like squad strike? What do you think of squad strike rather? If it's your choice,
100% squad strike. I think. Yeah, 100% squad strike. I think that's just me personally. I love the format of squad strike. I think it's phenomenal. I think you can really dive into the way the player, not the character, as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all about the player.
That's the best part. It's like a lot of the time when you're watching certain players play, you're like, that guy is synonymous with Donkey Kong, you know, or that guy is synonymous with Marth, right? And then squad strike is like, ooh, what? He's like mad defensive, but you know, his confirms are still on point. Like, what's going on here? You know, he's playing a real passive game, you know, and you see the way that how multifaceted this guy is at this game, right?
Yeah.
He's not just the one trick. He's not just cheesing people. He's played the game from a different level, and you get to see how he struggles to deal with situations that his main character otherwise would have, and the other way around, right? Like how he would overcome a situation his main would otherwise have struggled with, right? And like seeing that on their face when they're like, oh dude, I can get out of this with this, that's crazy. I love it. Yeah, 100% squad strike. That's me.
Yeah. No, I just want to quickly build on what you said. The character specialists as well, I think, in squad strike. Also, like, you know, sometimes you just have to talk about the character when they're in singles. But even in squad strike, it's like, oh man, like Dead Donkey Kong is out now. Like, here we go, you know, like this is where it gets hyped. Like they're either going to make the 3-stock or the 2-stock comeback, or they're going to just like lose on their main. And then these other like multi-character specialists have opportunity for shining. And you get like that duality of it throughout the whole tournament. So I definitely agree on that part. I think that's like way more interesting. But what do you think, Olag?
Look, first off, I absolutely side with that. I think having squad strike is so much more entertaining. Just having, as you said, having that sort of ace in the hole. You know, just bringing like, okay, well, you know, we've got someone who's just been playing just like a very specific, you know, like Duck Hunt, for example. And you're like, how the hell are they going to be able to translate that gameplay into other characters? And then all of a sudden, you just see, oh my gosh, like, hang on, they've got a where'd this Luigi come from? What do you
I
mean
was
they have a
about to say Luigi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it completely shifts paradigms. Like, you know, you get someone who's, you know, setting up shop on the other side of the stage, to all of a sudden, you know, pulls out the plunger, and then an airtight combo comes out, and you're like, hang on, this is, you know, who's the real main here? What's going on?
Yeah.
I think that just, it becomes so entertaining to watch. To be honest, I think just as a spectacle, it's much more entertaining.
Easy. Especially if you're about the players as well. If you're about the players and you know enough about the players, and sometimes they just surprise you with some, and it's a different sort of surprise to what doubles is, right? Doubles is a lot of like, what the hell just happened? That was nuts, you know, like an interaction just went crazy and like a lot of effects just flashed onto the screen. But whereas with Squad Strike, it's like, man, this guy has some nuance, you know, like I don't know how to describe it. It's
for me, it's that moment where someone brings out, like, they're down 2-0 in a set and they bring out their secondary, you know, and it works. Like I feel like that is what Squad Strike is a lot of the time. It's like bringing out this new thing, and everyone is like on the edge of their seat to be like, oh, will it work, or will it just get blasted by this other person and their main or whatever?
Can't believe it. That happened to I played against Chip at a set actually as well, and I'd got 2 up on his DDD, and he swapped to Mega Man. I'm like, oh, you rat bastard! I can't believe you.
You gotta have one in the pocket, baby. My secret weapon.
Can't believe it. No, I absolutely agree though. Yeah.
For me, I find these topics really interesting, because I don't know if you guys think about this, but it's constantly juggling the stakeholders of the stream. You know, like, you have to think about, like, what do the players want? Because I think, like, players might prefer doubles, you know, or they would at least want to have doubles there, because a lot of them are like, I enjoy doubles and I enjoy playing it, and I enjoy working with my doubles partner. But you also got to think about, like, the viewers, and you also got to think about, like, the tournament organizers, and you also got to think. So what do you guys, like, think? What do you value the most? I know commentators often try to, like, lean towards, well, we really want to care about the viewers, because at the end of the day, like, that's what makes the stream worth doing, and that's who we're trying to entertain up there. But, well, like, how do you guys balance that in your minds?
I mean, I'd say, first off, having a pretty decent connection to the tournament organizers just around the scenes and whatnot. I feel like, you know, with Jet specifically, you know, like, we've had a couple of back and forths and stuff, and, you know, that we've become somewhat close over, you know, the QQQ online stuff and Metashift and whatnot. And, you know, same goes for Chef as well in Sydney. I think kind of just having that constant sort of finger to the pulse to try and figure out, like, what their goals are, because I think, like, obviously the biggest opinion, and by far the most important opinion, as to how it's all going to run is going to be the tournament organizer. Yeah. So, I mean, I think definitely taking their lead is the main go, and I think what they say goes. But, I mean, me personally, I feel for Australia, I'd really, really want to focus on the viewers.
Yeah.
And although, you know, I absolutely love the scene, I think I'd also really, really love to see the scene grow and become more popular in an international sense. And I think, yeah, when it comes to having those sort of events where a lot of people from overseas can tune in, and, you know, I, like, absolutely support, you know, Jet with his ideas of, you know, huge production value and whatnot, because that does definitely bring it in. But I think, yeah, like, having that that idea of just, you know, the viewers and whatnot, and I guess just kind of trying to focus more on them, on, like, what they seem to respond to in a more international sense, I think is pretty important to kind of ensure, like, the growth of the scene on a global sense. But yeah, I don't know, that's also, maybe I'm just like a tycoon when it comes to that. Maybe I should probably maybe focus more on the little guy. But,
well, I mean, you have your focus on the Australian scene, so obviously you're like, I want this to grow. So I see the way you're coming from there, because that's often what I think about. Do you have any ideas of, like, what you think the scene should be doing more of?
Look, I really think, I just think production value and just, like, the production quality overall, especially, like, if people have the equipment, you know, on hand, which, you know, not many people do, to be honest. But I think over time, once that equipment kind of becomes more and more commonplace, I think being able to fully utilize, but also utilizing it sort of smartly in a way. Yeah. I think you can definitely get away with pretty high production value without sort of, dropping to like a huge amount of money, I'd say.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think just being able to at least get some really, really nice overlays, make sure everything looks pretty, get decent quality microphones, and I think you can really start running from there.
There are significant steps you can take that aren't huge hurdles initially.
Exactly right. Yeah. I think just, small changes can do a absolute wonders of difference. And I think, just kind of looking at streams overseas and whatnot, especially, the majors, I know it seems really, really specific, but just even something as simple as just different camera angles. I know it sounds so small and insignificant, but when you kind of see it, it turns away from just watching people playing a video game to an event, I feel, because it completely mirrors that of, normal sport games as well and normal sports events. And even if it's not a particularly huge upgrade, I think it can completely change people's perspective of what they're actually watching.
That's actually something that I try and put into commentary as well. Like when you watch a major, sometimes you don't necessarily get the feeling of being there. Like you might hear the crowd sometimes and you get the vibes, and you might hear like the urgency in the voice, but sometimes you don't even get a look at like what's there and what the place is like. Like I can't imagine what the place is like for a lot of American majors if they only have like 3 or 4 camera angles. And so what I try and do is I try and say things like what the room is doing, like Queenslanders on their feet. That's because of, I know that people want to feel like they're there sometimes, and that's why I'm saying it, because you can see the room when I say that, or the room's gone silent. Like that sort of stuff is easily replaceable with a more effective way when you put in camera angles, like you're saying, like you put in like more viewing of what's going on, because you're not just trying to show the game, you're trying to show the event.
Exactly right.
What about you, Chip? What do you think about this bounce? Do you feel like the players are something that you think about a lot, or is it the viewers, or is it the TOs?
I think it's probably player first for me right now. I think being a player first, and like initially being a player first and foremost myself, now things has changed, has definitely impacted that mentality, because the commentary that I want to bring to the table very much caters to, I guess, that crowd, like the nitty gritty and the sort of the breakdowns, and maybe what X player was thinking. And I guess if it's refined a bit more, it can be a lot more accessible to a wider audience, which is the ultimate goal, right? I'm the same as Olag in the sense that you want the scene to flourish and grow beyond what it currently is, so that we get more recognition, and then who knows, we get the chance to have international players come over or send players overseas, and it's just a really good sort of time for us, because we as a scene grow as a result of that. And having a good stream is the first step in doing that. So I think, for me right now, obviously it's players first, with the intention of expanding that to obviously the viewers, not just within Australia, but overseas as well. Yeah.
I mean, it's so tricky, especially for, I think, the Australian scene, because the toss-up in my head is that all of the viewers are also players.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like your community is those. And so I'm like constantly like, well, we got to do what the viewers want, but also sometimes those viewers for themselves want different things when it comes to their set,
Exactly.
They might want their pool set to be mega interesting, but they also want pools to not be as important as the top 8, And so it's like, how do you create that as a commentator? And I feel like that's been something that's fairly tricky. I'm sure you guys would agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's always the biggest thing that Australian esports in general really has to combat with, because even if you look at like, the biggest esports league, Counter-Strike, the majority of their viewers will sometimes, if not, very often be the family, friends, and relatives of the players who are there, and it's not commentary for the general audience as it would be in the bigger scenes like over in America. So sometimes I think we have to change the way that we do things to cater to them, but I think we're still figuring it out, so there's no right answer yet. in my mind.
It's true. We're still young, all things considered. When Coney came here for I think it was Big Win Championships.
Yes.
And he came over to Sydney for I think one local, and I got to pick his brain about it. And he said Australia very much feels like America back in the Brawl days. So it's still very much grassroots. The vibe is less sort of it's a lot friendlier, and we get to be a bit more freeform and commentary as opposed to the whole suit and tie thing. So I mean, obviously, like, you don't want that energy to sort of dissipate. You know, say we do get big, right, and maybe things end up getting changed and get put in a situation where it might not necessarily be the same feel as what everyone knows and loves about the Australian scene to begin with. Then it's like then there's also that to think about as well. But for some reason, I feel like we'll be okay on that front. I don't know.
Yeah. I think now's a very good time for us all to take a break, actually. I've just run out of tea, and I feel like I might have another one. All you guys back at home, you can do what you want. We're going to take 10, 15, 5, whatever the number comes up on screen, and then we'll come back and I think we'll start with the Gannon's Advocate. So get ready for that, and then eventually we're going to be moving into the Twitch and Twitter questions. So hold on to your butts. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Tournameta podcast. I hope you're fully refreshed after that. I know I am. Got a full cup of tea, got a full bottle of water. I'm ready. And we're going to be launching straight into Gannon's Advocate. If you don't know what Gannon's Advocate is, it's basically... you guys, in this scenario, will be given one side of an argument, and you have to argue that. Now, traditionally, it is, I just give the argument to somebody else that they have to argue, and it's something that they don't particularly agree with. And it always makes some funny, awkward scenarios that I have to put the needle under somebody and just feel the cringe awkwardness while everyone else gets to laugh at their answers. But
oh boy.
In this particular scenario, I didn't feel like that'd be right to do one of each. So what we're doing in this format is I'm giving a topic, and you guys have to argue your case to each other, and I just sit back and watch so I can be a viewer, which is a lot better. We've only got 2 Gannon's Advocates this time, but they're good. So the first one is, I am the better Smash player. So you guys are going to have to argue that you are the better Smash player, not me.
Oh, God.
Alrighty. Okay.
God, should I? Oh, jeez. If I let you start, then I'm going to... All right, never mind. You go for it.
No, you can start if you want, man. Like...
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, results aren't everything. I'm going to start with that. Results aren't everything. Now, honestly, everyone's been talking so much about all this, old blood, new blood, people entering into scenes. Yeah. I feel like being fresh-faced when it comes to esports and, competitive games in general, I feel, honestly, it gives you a bit of an edge, I'd say. And I think it gives you the most room to improve, so to speak. I feel like I'm relatively, new to the scene compared to my elderly counterpart. And
so
also
you got potential is what you're saying.
Yes.
You got that young man agility.
I do, yeah. The reflexes are man, they're something. But yeah, I've got room to improve, and I feel like, yeah, as I said, results aren't everything. I feel drive, commitment, also experience in international scenes as well. I think I can really easily take a huge step back and think to myself, man, should I play like an Australian, or should I play like a Canadian? Should I sort of take a step back, maybe stop holding forward, and maybe actually tilt the stick backwards a little bit?
Damn,
I think that's a huge advantage. I think that
I was hoping you wouldn't bring that one up. Damn. Okay.
So you're saying that you're overall you're like a warrior player, like overall you're just a more all-rounded, better player. And if you look at the all-time stats at the end of Smash Ultimate, you will be a better player.
Yeah, and I think the the ability to acknowledge that now, rather than have to wait until Smash Ultimate ends before we can look at the end results, I think just, puts me well above any other players.
Makes you a mega genius.
Not just Chip actually, but really most other players in the scene.
It's everyone, fuck it.
Freaking extra Jade, I'm calling you out. I'm going straight up there.
Okay.
So that's what else is there? That needs to be
I
said?
think that's a pretty good sell.
pretty good.
I mean, without the results, nice.
We don't have to talk about those.
Well, I think Chip might be talking about it in a second. What do you reckon, Chip? Are you the better player?
I mean, there's a very easy thing to look at, and it's probably just our set count against each other.
So you're saying go to www.ozsmash.com.au.
Yep.
So what was that? You're breaking up a bit.
Damn it, he's doxed me. All right, well, no. So the set count speaks for itself. If you have a look at, again...
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah. The Sydney PR as well this season. I think I'm there. Number 9, I believe. Yes, look, this season is a bit of a dud. The top 3 are inactive, but still, I made the cut, and that's all that matters, baby. Recognition, massive. Look, also, I gotta say, the DDD matchup into Luigi, garbage. I think it's a dog shit matchup. I think I navigated extremely well. And because, I'm dying at 60% from an upbeat. I should not be dying like that, man. Off of one, spacing issue. God damn. And he can spam this grab in neutral over and over. I have to grind my way through the DDD neutral, man. I'm spacing forward tilts. I'm delaying my jumps. I'm thinking of everything. My man's just, pivot grabbing my ass to oblivion. What else can I say?
Can I just ask, who the hell is controlling the Tournameta chat right now? Do we really just have to bring up ! Rankings? Sorry, it's not my turn. I'll go back.
Let's go!
Well, I was about to say, do you guys know your set count? Because I looked it up.
I mean, look, I've dabbled in Oz Smash from time to time.
You've got to win.
I don't think Elo's everything, but yeah. I've got to win.
You've got to win in the all-time.
I've got to win against a PR. I've got to win against two PR players, I think.
You have a 17% win rate against Chipotle.
Let's go, dude.
Let's go double digits. Do you have triple digits against me? For all intents and purposes, I think we're about even.
Yeah, look, you're almost of legal age with that percent. 17.
Hey, now, fair.
We call that baby percent, I think.
When were the sets actually as well? When was the... I think all of the sets earlier, I definitely lost. He has
1.5 matches with Mega Man.
Interesting. Now, in fairness, the last time I played against his main, I want to make it abundantly clear. The character who was talking about, who has the bad matchup that he navigates incredibly well, as of most recently, he has considered and has swapped off to a character who destroys Luigi, to Mega Man. So I would say, as a player, sure, he's fine, because he's got 2 characters, and I respect that.
I mean, if we discount the Mega Man, your percent's already way up.
You know what? Hey, that's very true, actually.
Yeah.
Man, God, who's
it takes a lot of brain power to navigate such a difficult character. Mega Man is a difficult secondary, ladies and gentlemen. All right,
ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
The neutral is difficult, man. The amount of times I got to press that A button. Oh man, and it's like what, for 2% a pop, and if you get in once, it's all over. Come on, bro.
I had to rebind my grab button. I just want to make that abundantly clear. That's how complicated Luigi is. My grab button is now Y on the Pro Controller. So I don't know what you're talking about with being a complicated character. I had to rebind my controls for this guy. Oh my god, because I can spam it more. But that doesn't matter.
I like the argument. I don't know if I agree with it, but I think
it's just a little anecdote.
Made good cases. Overall, I'm not going to award either of you the win there because of the next Gannon's Advocate topic I have to do, because if I had award winners, I wouldn't be able to do this next one. So you guys have to argue that you are the better commentator.
Oh, Big Win Beer, is that you?
No, man.
You son of a... Okay.
Yeah, I saved you guys on that one on the Twitter
You
question.
mother.
Oh, God. All right, well, look, I started last time. I've already seen the chat. There's already one message of Olag. So
Don't
I'll
read
let
the
you...
chat, guys.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see anything.
Get that out of here, man.
I didn't see a single word. Yeah, look, I started the last one. I'll let you start. I think that shows my character as a commentator.
Yeah, that's a good
Wow. All right. Okay.
supportive commentator trait.
Straight up. What a legend. Okay. Well, let's break this down. Okay. So, just like playing the game, obviously, to play the game fundamentally at a higher level naturally means the commentary translates better, right? You are only going to get better if you are at a higher level, and you can explain the interactions better if you know more of what's going on. Now, the two characters I play, dude, super meta, right? DDD, the champion of the the current meta right now, the Wi-Fi meta, DDD is rife. What I'm saying is, like, you have to know what's good. DDD is great online. You know who else is great online? Mega Man's pretty tight online as well. Projectiles, look, knowing the characters that are the most used, not the most used, but the popular strategies, and incorporating that into the commentary style as well, I feel has helped my case a lot. At the same time as well, you know, this voice, this has been trained. I work in TV, bro. Like, that alone helps the situation a lot more. You know, I'm able to use that information, translate that into easy, quick to understand bites of commentary. You know, the promos that I make are like really super duper short. So I have to make that analysis really condensed, man.
That's pretty good. That's a good resume, I think.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Not just in, you know, esports broadcasts, but actual old school like television broadcasts. That's another aspect we got to talk about as well, right? You know,
That's some next level pro shit.
We got the repertoire. We got the professional voice. We got the better game knowledge. What more is there to say? You know, what more is there to say? I think I've made my case. My case.
I rest my case, Your Honor. Yeah.
You know what? There we go.
Oh, you're done?
Dude,
yeah.
Okay, all right.
No,
I'll get the twisties out. All right,
Yeah,
for sure.
grab your snacks. Grab your
All right,
twisties.
all right. You know what? Yeah.
So, look, I absolutely respect where you're coming from. I wholeheartedly agree. When it comes to, you know, your proficiency and your ability to climb a PR ladder to 9th out of 10, that, you know, you've got that experience. I won't deny that whatsoever. You've got the experience in the scene that I think I was definitely lacking when I came from overseas, which I don't know if you guys knew, but I lived overseas. So
wow.
I'll make that abundantly. Yeah, wow, jeez.
All right. Okay.
Now, when it comes to actual commentary, I don't think... All right, you can't necessarily just appeal to the players. You can't look at the game and just say, all right, let's talk strategy. Let's talk frame data. Let's talk, you know, poor matchups and whatnot. Much knowledge, that's great. It's sure it's important, but it's not the key factor. You got to approach it from the perspective of the everyman, right? You can't just be there just thinking, okay, what? Cool, great. DDD's attacks, right? He's got a forward air, it's big. Hammer, great. That's something that people can understand. All right?
Yeah.
That's point one. I'll check that off to a certain extent.
Okay.
Now, obviously, we talked earlier as well about young blood.
Yes.
The scene, I would say, for Smash Bros. In general, across the world, is getting progressively younger. Now, Chip, as a commentator, I said this earlier, a little bit older than myself. Not that that's an issue.
Wow.
Now, it's important to stay in touch with the youth.
If you want.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I don't want to necessarily point it out as a huge detriment, but I'd like to bring it up to my advantage, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
acknowledged.
Now, officially speaking, working with children check, right? That's all done. That's all fine. So I've got that all done. I've been actually certified as a teacher as well. for a couple of years through cadets, through
So you
Army,
gotta
Air Force
speak
cadets
to
and whatnot.
kids.
Yeah, I've got to actively not only speak to, but teach and engage with children, of whom the demographic very closely lies with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Nintendo Switch, the game of which both of us commentate. I would argue myself better. And on top of that, look, he's talking about working in TV and stuff, doing pre-roll for all this footage. I don't think can I just quickly ask Chip, have I heard your voice on TV, or has it been somebody else?
I write the scripts.
You write this. Okay, so you write the scripts. I was on TV. If you cast your mind back, to the year of 2003, Playhouse Disney, right? Playhouse Disney, cooking with Colin.
Am I gonna get smoked by
Playhouse Disney.
by a Playhouse Disney?
Do we have a clip? Can we roll a clip? No.
I'm looking it up right now.
God, I don't know if
Where do I even begin to
find it on
Google?
YouTube. I can send it to you guys later. It's actually quite cute. But anyway, cooking with Colin. There I was as a very eloquent, might I add, 5-year-old. Looking around, just thinking to myself, man, this is what I want to do. I want to entertain the masses. And here I am, 16 years later. And I've thought to myself, you know what? I think I've started it. And I can definitely compare myself to other commentators, but I feel like I just had that edge from the get-go as well. It wasn't a job that I kind of, fell into. It was a passion that I pursued. So I would definitely argue that in terms of commentary and in terms of just presence in general, on top of that, twitch.tv/TheRealOlag is streaming
Damn it, man.
tomorrow.
That's too powerful.
So that's also something that I've been actively trying to run through. Genuinely having fun with that too. So I'd say, look, just overall presence, both in behind the mic, but also just presence in the scene. I would argue, I think, is a pretty key part for commentary.
Were you on episode 7?
Oh, jeez. Well, does it specify which? Does it specify? What are you talking about? Episode 7.
we can critique this.
Maybe it wasn't such good.
Yeah, you might not be as good as you remember. You were 5.
It was myself and a girl by the name of Talia, and I believe we were making. I want to say it was orange and pineapple juice.
Were you wearing a green shirt and she was wearing an orange one?
Oh, jeez, I don't think so. But I can confirm if you bring it up and it says, "Hey, it's Alex." Then, oh, sorry, my name's not actually Olag. It is in fact Alex.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry about that. yeah, sorry, I gotta go.
Damn.
We'll find that out. Oh, is that you? No, I don't know.
Have you actually?
Well,
if it was on YouTube, I'd be amazed.
There's two episodes on YouTube, episode 7 and episode 6, where it is a boy and a girl. I think this one might be you, actually. But I don't know how many seasons there were. Anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole just yet. I'll probably wait for the Twitch questions to roll through, and then I'll start
Oh, I found it.
I
found one of them.
Yeah, one of them. Were you on multiple episodes?
I was, actually, yeah.
Whoa!
I didn't want to destroy his argument too much, so I only mentioned one of them, but there was a second episode too. And I found the second one, but
you could have been asked for the whole time, man. You could have been asked for the whole time. We don't know.
I think you both blew each other out of the water in those arguments. Very well done all around. But as time flies, I do want to give an opportunity for the Twitter and Twitch questions because they always take up more time than I expect. So I think we'll dive right into the Twitter questions, honestly.
Let's go for it.
Yeah, I'll bring
please.
them up.
We can get each other away from our throats.
I hope
it is very weird. We're generally very
some
weird.
long-term rifts between you guys.
Well, the thing is, we're generally quite pleasant with each other. Like, generally, for the most part, outside of like the trash talk in game, for the most part, it's smooth sailing. Never a bad moment.
That's a good quality to have.
Who knows? Maybe we need that drama. It'll make us stronger.
Trial by fire. I agree.
So I've loaded up the Twitch questions now, guys. If you haven't got your Twitch questions in, too bad. I'll do a refresh right now in case you're writing them and you've forgotten. but I don't think anyone has. Only because my page loaded incorrectly. Alright, that's better. So, we usually sort these by the most popular ones. I don't know why we do that, honestly. We should just read top to bottom, because I end up reading them all anyways. But, we like to reward the ones that have the most upvotes, so you guys can make funny questions, and then everyone likes them. So the first one's from Millis, at Millis Dio. Has Olag budged at all on the eminent question of our time since Metashift? Is Wolf sexy?
Can I just start by saying I'm so happy that that was the top one. I think it's an important question because I'll be honest, I was really not happy with my answer from the crew battles. I feel like I sat far too much on the fence. So I will say here and now, no, I don't think Wolf is sexy.
Oh, tell him, dude.
But I'll tell you why. Look, if you look, 2 eyes, sure. A single eye, get him. Look, he's got an eye patch. Get out of here. What the hell? He's crazy. He's a pirate. I'm not messing with that. That scares me.
Oh, some people like to be a little scared. You can't judge.
Well, no, sir, not me. I
Like
hopped off that fence, and I'm very firmly in the camp that Wolf is absolutely unsexy.
Okay. Can I just say, you were so uncomfortable on screen when they asked you that question.
It caught me so off guard. Oh my lord.
That's the classic Queenslander commentator stuff. Just bring up something that is, for the most part, inappropriate, and then just run with it.
Between Wolf is sexy and the feet chants, it's like, go,
What
dude.
is this place?
I was like, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Man, that was a hot meme for a while, the feet. I love that. So that's the answer, no. I tend to agree.
Definitely not.
Yeah. Next question from Vanessa, at Jack Vanessa. Commentators in Australia that you most like commentating with, and who do you wish to commentate with in the future?
This is a good question.
I agree, yeah.
Really good
It's
question.
for both of you. So whoever wants to go first, just...
So what was again commentators that you would like to commentate with?
Yeah, the ones that you most like commentating with, and ones that you would like to do commentary with in the future.
Oh, okay. I guess outside of our duo, I really like commentating with Stabby J from South Australia. He's fantastic. And he's got that really good insight that a long-time vet has.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem with commentating with him is that he's always top slot at the majors a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So he'll be with Big Win or someone else. But again, granted, given the opportunity, it'd be really good to be on the mic with him. I have done some online stuff with him, but obviously the idea here is like offline sort of events would be really nice.
Yeah. He was one of those one of those commentators who was mentioned with all of the others as being the top commentators in Australia. So, yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I personally, I don't think I've done any commentary with him before, even online. But he's somebody I myself as well want to do commentary with. I probably have, actually, but I can't remember.
Maybe. I mean,
Olag, how about you? let me deflect before I can confirm or deny.
No, fair enough. I mean, look, obviously on top of Chip, he's a real up and comer. Love that guy. Great guy.
Oh, right, man.
I mean, another one who I really, really enjoyed. I've done it a couple of times at the Sydney Weeklies. I really, really enjoy commentating with At Lowe's, actually. And I think Chip would probably say the same as well.
Oh yeah.
I think like similar to how Chip's kind of got like a really strong game sense. I think Ellis kind of has that dialed up to 11. But it's very rare as well that you'd get someone of that kind of caliber of a player being able to explain themselves in such sort of brevity as well, like in the style that works really well with commentary.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think just like his ability to put game knowledge into words is just mind blowing. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
High level players have that knack of doing that, right? Where they're able to like give you a new perspective on the game and see things that you may not have seen before.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's awesome. It's really good, especially if they're really eloquent about it as well. Because a lot of the time, especially with high-level players, when they jump on the mic, it's like sometimes they're not as comfortable just speaking as well. Like they know the game, but it's very hard for them to sort of condense that information out of their brain and just like sort of talk about it in a way that's easy to understand. But at Lowe's for sure, and you get like rarities everywhere. Like at Lowe's, I think. Who else was really good like that? I mean, he's not so much as good of a player as he was in Smash 4, but Jesmo, I find, listening to Jesmo talk about the game, fantastic.
Yes.
Like,
I
really
loved
awesome.
commentating with Jesmo when I did.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Did he
Were you
going
gonna
to
say
say
someone else
Oasis
before?
as well?
Pardon?
I might be completely making this up, but did he commentate, I think, quite a bit of Oasis? Or was he mainly just TOing that? I'm not sure.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just speaking in the void. I'm not too sure.
Was there somebody else that you were going to say before Olag? Before I cut you off?
I was gonna actually say as well, on top of just the immense amount of shit talk that came out of the crew battle in Queensland, I genuinely really enjoyed commentating with both Millicent and Janglio actually.
Yeah.
I think just like the Queensland scene in general has a really, really fun dynamic, and I thought that like sort of being able to delve into that was really, really good. And I'm sure the same would go as well for when Chip and I got to cast with Iro too for the top 8.
I was just about to say Iro. Yeah.
He was a lot of fun to cast with. He was very, very excitable, so that made our job so much easier.
Yeah. He's got a real,
especially as like outsiders too, to the scene. We felt like immediately just part of it. Yeah, it was so good.
So easy to just give us the lore from the get-go, and it's like that gap that we often lack when you go into state and you see all these like different players play, is just filled instantly.
He's got a very pure and tangible passion for the game.
Yes, yes,
absolutely.
He plays Falcon, man. You gotta have it at that point.
Yeah, I love commentating with him. I got a great dynamic, but we're brothers.
Because I was gonna say you guys are related. That's like.
But that's the kind of stuff I love. Like when you have like an outside relationship with commentators, and then you have like the dynamic in the games. Like that sort of stuff's really important as well. I'm lucky to have him as my brother, but there's a lot of other people that I'm really good friends with, or I just have like a really fun dynamic with, or a really like hype dynamic with. I think some of my best stuff's been done with Gus.
Yes.
Schooner.
Oh,
yeah, which
awesome
a lot of
commentator.
people as well say that he's a fantastic commentator. He's just got like a very particular style that people just love listening to. Do you guys agree?
I agree. 100% agree. I think when you guys casted or commentated the first half of the top 8 at Metashift before me, Oleg, and Iro jumped on. Because I had to listen back. I watched that top 8 back because it was a phenomenal top 8.
What a great tournament that was overall.
That was amazing. And I was like, man, you guys crushed it. Like, you guys killed it. Every single one of you had such good insight to offer as well. Between, Jesmo, Gus, and yourself. Yeah. I was like, it's like this, who do I want to listen to more? I can't pick a favorite, right? Normally you can pick and choose favorites. You're like, I like that guy more than the other guy. I want to hear more of him. But as this one's like, I just can't get enough. I wish you guys like did more.
It's also hard because like there's going to be people that we always forget. I'm sure there's people who are like, gonna be like, oh, I'm sad they didn't pick me. But I want to do commentary with everyone who wants to give it a go. And there's going to be times where I remember stuff that I go, oh yeah, that was sick, that was amazing, I really appreciated doing that with that person and stuff like that. So like if your name's not mentioned, don't be discouraged. Like we're just running through memory lane, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And further to that point as well, I feel for the most part, like ever since probably about like September onwards, 9 times out of 10 when I've been commentating, it's probably been with Chip anyway.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's probably quite rare that we kind of cast with other people.
You guys have to rely on the tri-casts.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
That just adds that extra dynamic. Yeah.
What do you guys think of tri-casts? Because that's one of the Twitter questions, I believe. Let me see if I can find it and then give them the shout out for thinking of it. Pineapple on pizza? No. No. Did nobody ask this?
I can try.
Here we go.
Where was it?
I think someone did. I think by memory.
I keep forgetting how to pronounce his name. It's Siren.
I don't know it.
Rend. at Siren Rens. I think he's messaged me like, "This is how you pronounce it." I've gone, sweet. I'll just say this.
Yeah,
How
well
do
done.
y'all think the dynamic changes when you have 3 peeps on comms instead of 2?
Oh, this is a Queensland exclusive thing. I don't
Yeah.
think we've ever tri-casted too much outside of Queensland, and for the Queensland online stuff, because normally back in locals, it's just the 2 mics that Icy gives us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, like, unless you got like Vanessa in the background just yelling,
It's like
that's a tri-cast, right?
The classic, 2.5 casters. It's
Yeah.
he's just kind of in the background.
I actually wrote like some dot points for this one on the train home, but I said basically with tri-casting, there's the added bonus of having more energy, especially if the set's good, because just by default there's more people on the mic, so hype moments are going to be hyper, right? The difficulty in that case is there's a lot more juggling involved, deciding who gets to speak and when. So often you'll find that unless it's really balanced out, one person sometimes gets left behind in the dust, and that can change between sets or even games, right?
Yeah.
So that's also like a problem. It's very difficult to get words in when all the chaos is going on and you got 2 guys just absolutely, spitting it, and you're like, I can't keep up,
Yeah,
I'm
you
just trying
definitely
to
have
find
to like step in every time you want to step in.
exactly.
And everyone, I think, most people in tri-casts though are like, they're really respectful of the other 2 players. So when someone starts to like get their word in, you're just like, okay, well, I got to back off.
Yeah, exactly. It's a really good trait that you pick up from commentary, where it's like, especially in normal conversation, the moment someone else starts speaking, I stop speaking. Like you sort of cut yourself off short. And sometimes that's a bad thing, because it's like, maybe I should have finished that point. But
It's balance.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I just basically, the final dot point I wrote was, if tri-casting hits hard, it hits hard when everyone has great chemistry. It's probably the best case scenario. It's awesome. I guarantee anyone who has interest in doing something like that, you don't even have to say insightful stuff. You can even just make noises. Sometimes that's all you need, like.
No, it's true. Yeah, it's very true. Because sometimes the noises are just like they set the tone.
Yeah. If the set is high and you're making gorilla noises and it's like, dude. Yeah. That's all you need. That's like, damn, that's hype.
Sometimes that's what you need to do as well. I know I've been in tournaments where I've like done the whole day and I'm at like that top 8 moment. I'm like, I cannot like make my brain whip it into shape at this point. I need to do some gorilla noises for like 2 games to just like rest, just let my eyes and my mouth do very reactionary stuff.
Oh, definitely. I think especially like at an especially long weekly and whatnot, like it kind of gets to 11:30 at night, like you're kind of waiting for the train to kind of come through, and you're like, all right, cool, nice freaking nice hit. All right, GG's, let's go. I gotta go home.
Dude, totally. Totally. It just reminds me of the times you stay back late at a Starforge, and sometimes it's like you're not feeling it at all. It's like, dude, this is the 16th set between Dr. Ines and At Lowe's, and they're just going at it with, Donkey Kong and Bowser, which, by the way, normally is an awesome matchup to watch, right? Because it's just 2 big dudes just slapping the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
But once you've seen the 10th game that they've played, they've reset the bracket, you're like, bro, I'm numb.
How is the uni still open? Like, someone come and shut us down, please.
I just
one
want
of the guards or the security's like standing at the door, like waiting for it to end. Yeah, been there. What Olag? What do you reckon about tri-casts? Like you obviously had them in Queensland, they're a bit of a Queensland exclusive thing, but what do you think they bring to the table?
I mean, I feel like it's a bit almost like well, I was about to say junk food, but that's not really what I want to say, because I really like it whenever it goes really well.
Yeah.
I think, and thankfully, I think both times we've done tri-casts, sort of in the Queensland scene, I think they've gone like
really well,
overwhelmingly well. Yeah. I think we've had a blast doing it, and I think listening back to it, I think it sounds really nice too. I think it sounds really good.
Yeah, it's probably the best thing we've done.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel similar to what Chip was saying. Like with three casters, you're definitely trying to, find the right spot to put in your input. But I think so long as you have like a bit of a chat beforehand, with whoever the third person's going to be, or even just if you haven't met them before, both the other two, just to sort of try and figure out, like, broadly speaking, like what parts you might be more inclined to cover anyway.
Yeah.
Like if you've got a pretty strong grasp on what your commentary strengths are, and all three of them have that strongish grasp still, then I think it makes it infinitely easier. But yeah, on the other hand, though, two casters is literally just, trying to, I mean, at its absolute base level, you'd really just kind of trying to, fill the silence. It's
very much a double-edged axe, I think. It'll either go very well, or there's so many ways that I know a lot of like veteran and experienced commentators can see it going wrong, and that they have to play on their game to make sure that it doesn't turn sour in the many ways that it can.
Definitely.
Exactly. It can turn into just noise.
Yeah.
Like if it's not sort of maintained properly, because I guess every commentator's just got to, especially when there's big personalities on the mic, you try cast like three big dudes in the same sort of venue. It's like they might just end up try talk over each other, or it just might be like they're just battling to get their voice out, and it can feel like, I don't know,
not
exactly
different people on the wrong page.
Yeah, exactly. Or like you all want different things, so it's like you're all talking about the different plays, and it's quite jarring, as opposed to one nice flowing sort of like, I ask a question, caster 2 responds with an answer, caster 3 gives a reaction to that answer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're all like focusing on the same things in the set, like that's the amazing stuff.
Oh, that's when you all sync up. That's the best moment, when it's like a character or a player gets a really big read, and you all say the option he went for at the exact same time. You're like, you'll link up, you'll like fusion together, like, oh, the side B. It's happened before. It's such a, I love it.
It's like when you do the Power Rangers dance and you all combo into the same big Power Ranger or whatever.
Yeah. It's like, oh, the command grab. Everyone just says it at once. You're like, oh, that was sick.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because I look outside of esports, especially like I'm a big League of Legends fan, and they reserve tricasts for like worlds, but not even worlds during like the pools. They only reserve it for like top 8 at worlds, top 8 at the championships of their regions. Like they don't often do it. They tentatively do it, and I think it's interesting because, if tricast was just straight up better, that's what you would always do. But it's just, I don't know, I like the fact that people reserve it for the bigger moments. It feels like it's a correct gamble that only the big moments will reward it with.
Yeah, you saved it.
I saved it?
Oh, sorry. Did I cut off there? You save it for the big moments. I think.
Yeah.
That's that was what I was trying to say.
Yeah, no. All good. Oleg, did you have anything to add? I cut you off earlier.
I guess it kind of, with that in mind as well, I guess I can now see where I was going when I was mentioning junk food. I guess, too much of it, and I think it kind of loses its, loses the taste, I think, loses the value. And it's also eventually, it can be kind of bad for you. Like, because if you become, like, as a commentator, used to having 3 people, then eventually I think when it just comes to, 2 people, or even, God forbid, just one person on the microphone, I think that can definitely start to sort of expose weaknesses as well.
It's more like a rich chocolate mud cake.
Yeah,
yes, that is
exactly
a good
right.
analogy.
Yeah,
really welcome when you need it, and in the time that you want it. And it's like someone's birthday, you're like, this is a special occasion, we bust it out. But if it's at every local,
watch out for your tummy.
Yeah, I'm dead.
All right, let's get through some of these other ones, because I don't want to, I want to pump through these.
Let's do it.
Yeah. As long as you guys are ready. We don't have to answer who's the better commentator. I'm sure you guys demonstrated it in your arguments. We'll go to the 4 hearts questions, unless there's another 5 one that I missed. No, we already did that one. So Gravy Dice, at Gravy Dice, if you could be invited to comms, the top 8 of any tournament in the world, and have one commentator as a third, what tournament would it be, and who would be the commentator? So it's you two, and then you get to pick the third one. And what tournament would it be?
Anyone.
I mean,
Oh.
I still
I'd say
have to.
Evo, but that's
I was going to say in that strain, I would say Evo Japan.
okay.
I think like just from a purely selfish perspective, I haven't been to Japan before, but I'm also really super fascinated by the Japanese Smash scene in general. It seems like just a different world as well. I mean, mainly just because I can't quite, tune in and listen to the commentary for it because I don't unfortunately understand the language. So it just seems like such a foreign concept, but it's still just so fascinating to me. So I think being able to somehow like get there and do that, first off, seems like compared to maybe Evo in the US, like seems relatively. Look, I'm probably at a stretch, relatively feasible because at least geographically we're closer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that would definitely be the one that I'd really want to go to, both for selfish, but also just for like Smash Bros related reasons.
Not to mention, you get to commentate Japanese players who I think are sometimes super entertaining, more so.
Exactly
than
right.
Americans.
Yeah.
Some of the best, man. They're always underseeded when it comes to that PGR stuff, man.
Hell yeah.
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 Best watch out, and for good reason as well. I think I'd like to keep it that way so that they keep making those upsets.
Yeah, it's always good for the storylines and the entertainment factor. Those poor players are like, come on, but fuck it.
It's good.
Good to watch.
Who would we bring? Who would you bring though? That's what I want to know. This is a tough.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. Because I think you'd have to think not only about, a commentator that you personally would want to commentate with, but also one that you kind of think would fit the dynamic. God, I feel part of me really, really wants to say Coney.
Yeah, I was gonna say Coney.
Yeah. Just
I feel like
I've met the guy as well. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Did you end up talking to Coney when he was down in Sydney or?
He was here probably about 2 weeks before I came back.
No.
So I think I just missed him. I think I was having the time of my life in Disneyland the day he was in Sydney. So it was rough, but yeah. So I wasn't quite there in time, but I would say, yeah, much as I love, like, as I said earlier, Rodney as a commentator. I think he seems like such a intimidating personality to be on the microphone with. So I don't know. I think in terms of both being personable, but also just being like overall just a great wealth of knowledge about Smash Bros globally too. I feel Coney, I think, would be awesome to jump on the microphone with.
Yeah, I think Coney's one of those people who he seems to work well in a lot of different setups, like with different commentators. When I think of like TK Breezer and EE, I think of them together. And it's hard for me to take them out of that, even though I know that like with other commentators they're super fantastic. Coney's the one that I think of as like, oh, he can make it with anyone. Like he's super adaptable with his style, and like it's something that you can always build off of. And he's great.
Oh yeah, he's got no bad matchups.
Yeah, no bad matchups. I like
that. That's the commentator that you always want to aspire to, right? Like having no bad matchups, so that way it's just you fit in like a glove. It's like with this dude, easy. With this other guy, I get the vibe, right?
When I first started, I wanted to be a good, like, Rodney type commentator, where you sort of like take over and form the narrative of what you're watching, and then like other people support you, and you make it easy for them to support you. But as I've gotten more experienced, I'm like, sometimes I really want to be the supportive commentator because I feel like that's a lot trickier, and it also, in very subtle ways, you have more of an effect on the commentary and the quality of entertainment.
It's almost like being the best sidekick ever is really hard.
Yeah,
as rough as that sounds, but
would you pick Coney as well, Chip? And would you also go to Evo Japan?
I'd probably pick Coney. It's tough because Smash-wise, it's like I'm trying to think about people that I have met and talked to, and I think would fit the same vibe that Australian commentary sort of encapsulates. And Coney was very, very like comfortable. Like he fit in super duper well. Tournament-wise, so it's not going to be Evo Japan. It's CEO. That's what I had.
That's a good
Just
one.
because I believe the question Gravy Dice mentioned it was top 8. And for CEO top 8s, you get entrances that everyone has to come up with. And watching those and commentating with those, like, it's always fun.
Yes.
Because it's like, I don't know, you get to see like goofy gamers doing goofy things. And some of them are like really, really good.
Yeah.
Some of them are not so good, but that's just as good. If that makes sense.
When they're not so good, it is now your job as a commentator to try and make something
to
out
make
of it.
it good. And it's really funny because you can just laugh it off. You can be like, "What the hell was that?" You know, get that shit out of here. And that's like content as well. So I really like that. That would be one tournament. The other tournament I had listed was a French one. So Ultimate Fighting Arena, a UFA in France, just for the crowd. I think EU crowds for Smash Bros are just insane. And if you're getting your comms pumped to the crowd as well, that's also something like an experience that I'd love.
Shout out to the French, because it's not just it's like all of esports that the French crowd is pretty fucking wild with. Like when they've had tournaments for League in France, they still use the voice clips of the French crowds in like their PR stuff and their like promotional videos today, because their French crowd is just amazingly insane.
It's all sorts of hype. It's like it's like us tuned up, you know. It feels like, because we get hype, like we get pretty damn hype. But man, those French guys,
they storm the stage. Like they don't boundaries. They don't care. They'll get up there and they'll hug their boy Gluto.
Did you see when Gluto lost to Space? I think it's one tournament. It was like a really big tournament, and the casters just went nuts. And there were French as well. And even though Gluto lost, they were going nuts because he lost. They were just losing their minds.
He's probably reached that stage. Honestly, Gluto's probably reached that stage in France where they're just like, look, can anyone please defeat this man?
Yeah. Well, it's like they just get unbelievably hype at whatever happens to Gluto, where he wins, where he loses. You know, it's just like, oh, I can't believe it. He's done it again.
That's honestly the best type of, like, you never want your crowd to be like super indexed on one player, and that like if they lose, then you boo or whatever. Like you want your crowd to get pumped either way.
Yeah, definitely. That's a very good point, actually.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Verse SSB. How I Met Your Chipotle.
Oh. I mean, I'm guessing this is like a bit of an origin story. How'd we meet?
Yeah.
I think so. I assumed it was an inside joke, but now I'm...
Yeah. Verse has got me stumped.
If it was an inside joke, then I didn't get it. But
damn it.
That's how you know it's a really inside joke, though. I gathered it was just like how did we as a sort of duo meet?
Yep, that's a good question.
I mean, honestly, probably just I think I want to say I came up to you because you were playing King Dedede, who was like a long lost secondary of mine.
And you said disgusting.
I just came up and just like spit on the ground where you stood. I'm like, how dare you? I went up and I think I probably just like sort of started talking, and I think at one point we probably just by coincidence got sat on a microphone with each other. I think I was probably just there late because I'd driven there because I work just down the road from where our locals are.
Yep.
And so I park there, and then whoever's around at the end, because a few people live near me. And notably, Purple H, maybe you've heard of him. But like whenever people are around and he's just sitting there again in the grand finals, I'm just sitting there on the microphone being like, oh, please, I want to go home. And yeah, I'd hazard a guess and say that we probably just sort of casted for the first time at a weekly from then. I'm pretty sure that's more or less right.
Yeah.
Did you have a different answer? I think that's about right.
I think it's more or less the same. I think I remember the DDD talk. I'm pretty sure. And you mentioned stuff about like, oh, I just came back from Montreal and blah, blah, blah. Because the first time I saw you was when you rocked up to a weekly and you were solo casting, or you just jumped on the mic. And I think I was like, oh, okay, so he's come for the commentary, like, because I don't know if you played in that
because I was already out of bracket.
Yeah, you were. Oh my god, shit.
No. I think no. In fairness, for the first tournament I did in Sydney, I did quite well because everyone was playing Hero. It was the first week Hero was out.
Oh, okay, okay. That
the other one, the one
then.
after, I think it was O2. But yeah.
Yeah, because I remember seeing you on the mic, and I was like, oh right, there's like a new face. Because I'd already done a bit on the mic with like Shao Eater and Scarpion, like some of the other guys from Sydney, and I was like, oh okay, sweet. There's like another guy on the mic, which is a bit of a rarity, especially if they just come and they're like very predominantly on the mic. And you were good as well. Like I walked by and I was like, damn, like okay, this is
straight
like
fire.
Yeah, legit. Everything he spoke, it was like, oh holy shit, I have to get in on this, otherwise, I'm smoked. You know, like. But yeah, I think we did like a monthly together, and it was like it worked really well, and we were like, yeah, we got to do more of this. And then I think BKB helped a lot with, again, like furthering that whole sort of like, oh, let's travel together, let's do all this other stuff,
Definitely.
That had a much better ending than How I Met Your Mother.
Oh yeah. Man, that show. Come on, bro.
Let's not get into it.
You can't do me like that.
All right. Nick, bam. Nick, bust a move, Nick. Sick Nick is his Twitter handle. Favorite QLD player/players. Wait, no. I'm skipping Finn. No? Yes, we've already sort of answered this one. But if you guys had any other answers, depending on the framing of the question, Finn is definitely doing a med scan at SadHour64. Favorite non-Australian commentators.
Non-Australian commentators.
Yes.
Ooh.
Was it favorite non-Australians?
Yes.
I'm guessing just I'll just attribute this because I think I already said some stuff about outside FGC stuff. So I'll just keep it locked to Smash.
Yep.
For this one. So Coney, obviously,
Yeah.
because it's just really easy listening, great personality. Max Ketchum is someone I really like as well.
Oh yeah.
Like really good analysis and insight, sort of similar to what I mentioned earlier with Sajam for Street Fighter. It's like being with the added bonus of he also pretty actively plays the game, and to a decently high level, especially for a commentator.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of the EU guys as well, so like the French guys I mentioned, so TPK and Falster. If you guys haven't checked these guys out, you got to check these guys out. They go wild on the mic. It makes you feel like you're watching like a late night soccer game or something.
They got that energy.
They got that energy, and it's very natural energy as well. It's something that I think the US scene, especially some of the mid to lower tier commentators, they try to do that thing where they inject that.
They're trying to get the clip.
Yeah, exactly. So they're spouting memes. They've got anime references out the arse, and you're like, I get it, man. Like I watch anime as well. It's great, but like too much is too much. Sometimes you got to be a bit more natural with it. And these French guys, they live in the moment. They yell like crazy. You know, they get hyped when they need to. It's just a really good feeling. So yeah, TPK and Falster, those guys are really good. So those are my picks.
How about you, Alex?
Yeah. I actually also had Max Ketchum as well, but not for the analysis, but more for the amount of shit talk that he can put out. I think he's very entertaining to listen to when it comes to sort of intentionally biased commentary. So I think it was it Tri-State versus the World?
Oh, yes.
I pretty distinctly remember that one, but also because I actually got the pleasure of meeting him when I was overseas at Get On My Level in mid last year. And it was the first time I'd actually kind of heard of him, and I immediately just thought he was just, I'm like, this guy's an asshole. Like he's just so rude about these players. But then I realized, it was all kind of part of the bit, and it was all him just kind of, I guess, creating like a bit more of a narrative, especially when it comes to like the more grungy matches, not necessarily just the ones that are always, like top 8 on stream, everything like that.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of just pure entertainment factor, I've really, really enjoyed him.
I always feel like he's one of those people who like makes you think that bias is something that you can put in to a match if you tastefully do it,
Yes.
No, absolutely right. And I think it definitely, like, bias definitely has its place in sort of certain sets.
Yes.
And I think that his ability to kind of first off like find that, but also be able to push that so far is really, really fun to listen to.
Yeah.
And a couple of sort of niche ones as well from Montreal specifically. Actually, I'll give a quick shout out to those guys because they're awesome. There's a static duo over there called they're both Hermit and River. So I think Hermit is, I would argue, and River as well. I would argue that they're some of Canada's like best commentators.
Wow.
I think Hermit most recently did the most of the top 16, I think, for, if not all the top 16 and top 8 for the Get On My Level online tournament.
Okay.
And it was the first time that I kind of heard him in a more international sense, and he slotted into it so well. So I'm just really, really glad that they kind of got that huge recognition that I reckon they deserve. And River as well, likewise. This guy's he's a performer first and a commentator second, but he's so entertaining to listen to. So it's definitely not like the global names like, TK and EA and stuff, but they're very, very entertaining people. So I would definitely say that those two are my some of my favorite ones out there.
Yeah. No, shouting out those talents is sick. Like, we always want to give those people props because it's really hard, especially if you're not I'm sure if people with even lesser talent than those guys are raised in the scenes of SoCal and those big tri-state areas and Florida and stuff, you just get heaps of opportunity with bigger audiences to prove yourself, so sometimes there's better talent out there, and it's pretty often sometimes, and they just don't get the opportunities to prove themselves as much. So we'll keep it rolling. Bust a move, Nick at @sick_Nick. Favorite QLD player / players.
This is
Shadru.
I mean, that's just a given. I feel like that's you can't say Shadru because that's a default answer. We gotta work around this.
All right, he's on the shelf. Now you got to add other players to the shelf.
So I think on the PR, on the Queensland PR, I would put obviously Ben Gold. That's another sort of a throwaway answer.
Definitely
Ari as well. I really like watching Ari.
Yeah.
I guess it's more so his approach to the game as opposed to his character. I'm just a big fan of the drive of the climb and the way that how he's willing to the way that he approaches the game with such, what's the word? Is it optimism? It's like naive,
never
but
gives up.
Yeah, exactly. In a really good way, because that's something that I don't want to talk shit about the Sydney scene, but Sydney scene sort of lacks that sort of positivity.
Will.
Yeah, not just the will, the positivity in general sometimes, because it's sometimes you just be playing a set against the PR guys and they just all look so sad. They're like, man, bro, I can't do this. It's I don't know what's going on. It's you get that feeling a lot. Yeah, exactly. It's I have to play how many Pikas? And it's you got Day and Shmoo back to back. You're like, no, I'm getting lightning looped. I don't want to play the game. It's very much a vibe that can get very, I think, rooted into mentality. So to see someone who's always eager to learn, always eager to get better, despite having already achieved so much, right?
Yeah.
And showing signs of not stopping, I really respect that. So that's PR, and then I think unranked players. I had the pleasure of playing Lush, I think, when I was over for Metashift.
Yeah.
And I was really taken aback and impressed as well. I think Lush is crazy. If he attended more, nuts. That Sheik, fire, straight flames. I don't want anything to do with it, but I watch it, all day.
Yep.
And what else did I have here? Dags. That's someone to watch out for.
Yeah.
I'm calling it.
I think most of Queensland are he's basically PR at this point, I think. In terms of talent and positioning. As soon as we get back into offline, we'll see him start climbing real serious. Threateningly.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Alex?
Look, I reckon there's a lot of really, really fun players in Queensland, to be honest. I think there's so many great personalities up there. And so obviously I understand, Sick Nick, if he's saying, who's your favorite? He's obviously fishing for it. So I'll say Python.
Yeah.
So I'd say, yeah, I think Python honestly is. First off, I want to start by saying I actually haven't looked at too much of his gameplay.
Yeah.
But I think his actual personality and his ability to just be so welcoming as well. I was genuinely surprised by when we got there. I think it's straight after the crew battle. He everyone kind of just immediately went outside, and he immediately just kind of came up and he's just like, yeah, cool, like come out, like let's have some pizza, let's like grab a drink, let's sit down. And like the whole kind of, you know, New South Wales and Queensland scene just kind of sat down basically and just chatted. Yeah. And he kind of facilitated that, but he was also kind of running that too.
Yeah.
I don't know, I wasn't expecting that, but he was such a nice guy. So that's sort of my first pick, I reckon.
His play is nutty as well. Just yeah.
I gotta catch up on it.
Scummy
it's a dope scat. I was about to call it scummus. It's a dope Samus, bro.
Yeah, it is. No, it is very, very cool. I just don't like the matchup. That's all. You know me.
Yeah,
it's rough. I mean,
you're DDD, man. Like, how many times are you gonna have to run into that problem?
I gotta dash up and press B.
It's exactly the same. I'd say, if not potentially worse for Luigi too. Like anything that he sends out that's horizontal, I'm just like, oh, I can't recover. See you later.
Yep.
But I mean, yeah. On top of that as well, especially in like the more recent sort of ISO combat stuff, I really enjoy watching Spazzy. I've had an absolute blast watching him, not just for like his gameplay, but also just for his subsequent reactions too. Whenever he gets something cool.
Yes.
He just seems like such a, I don't know, positive force, I'd say.
He's an amazing personality. Yeah.
Yeah, and in the sort of like facing adversity, like of, you know, character choice as well. It's something I can definitely gel with now that we're all online. But I think like his Sonic is so cool to watch.
Yeah.
And it's the best Sonic to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Admittedly, one of the few Sonics to watch,
one of the only ones. Yeah.
But I'm glad that, you know, of the few that are out there, he's pretty comfortably taken top spot. I think he's a very entertaining player to watch for sure. I was going to mention as well Mana. I think might have been previously known as MP. I got to play. I think we played against each other at Metashift, and it was like game 5, last hit, last stock. And my god, that was that like his hero like terrified me.
Yeah.
Because like it was such like a foreign concept, and like his command of that character was quite scary. Like it's very scary.
Oh wait, oh shit.
Yeah, like I'm off stage. Oh, he's walked up. Oh, that's a magic burst. Okay, all right, I see.
He's just got the menu on deck.
Yeah, his RNG was amazing, but he was also a very man. He's just like, he was such a pleasant player as well. So, and I think especially when there's a game as stressful as that, I think the fact like a lot of people can kind of let their emotions get the better of them. Yeah. So, and I'm really happy that we got to play against each other. He was very, very fun to talk to afterwards too. So, I reckon those are kind of my 3. I mean, PR obviously, look, Shadru, Ben Gold, they're so entertaining. Sad Hour as well is a really calculated player that I like watching.
Yep. Sad Hour was sick.
But yeah, those are kind of the main picks for me.
It's such a diverse scene.
It's way too hard to pick a wrong answer.
This is a struggle one because like I feel like
this is why we try to avoid these questions, honestly, because if you have to just be like, oh, who's your favorite? You just start rattling off everybody and going, all right, these are the reasons why you are amazing to watch.
Exactly. You just can't narrow it down. And I feel like I wouldn't have the same problem with other scenes. I would have less people to pick from just because of, one, the character diversity up there, and the fact that, and Ira put this really well when I asked him about it, it's like Queensland is like a wave, right? Like everyone sort of grows together. So everyone is sort of at that really comfortable level where they're all able to spar with each other.
Yeah.
I guess with Sydney and maybe to a certain extension Melbourne, you know, you get a lot of mid-level that just gets sort of washed away. Maybe I don't know. Like that's the vibe I feel sometimes. So
honestly, it's very true, and we have to thank. I got to give him props 411 for that, because we were very much set in our ways of like there are top players, there are mid players, there are low tier players.
Yeah.
But it's changed so much because 411 has come in with this like, all right, let's get good attitude, and so everyone's like, we're just gonna like, it doesn't matter who you are, if you're up against me in sets and whatnot, like we're all trying to get better as a scene. So like, you know, you'll have people who want to take you down, ask for assistance, and you're like, yeah, okay, here's how to beat me, you know. And then they learn and they get better, and suddenly you have these players who are all like, honestly, a lot of them are receiving a lot of good help, and they're getting clicks so fast.
Yep.
So thanks 411. If you guys release your shirts, no, not your shirts. Yeah, sure, your shirts. I'll buy one.
The 411.
They
Yeah.
got shirts? That's awesome.
Well, they've got their whole... Have you seen it? They got their whole gear. I'm pretty sure they got hats, shoes, shirts. I don't know about pants.
Don't tell me it's the long socks.
They
Is it the shorts
definitely
and the
have
long
socks.
Oh, dude. I think I know the fit. I feel like I've seen the fit. Was it the
don't know if
hat?
they've got
Do they all
shoes,
wear
actually.
caps? Was it all the subway caps?
Yeah, they all got caps, they all got shirts, and they all got socks. I don't know about pants and shoes. Someone's going to correct me in the Twitch chat. We'll be there in a second, guys. You can correct me. Speaking of which, let's get through some more of these Twitch questions. Twitter questions. For Chipotle, as you play... Oh, this is Master of Disaster, in brackets, mod, out of brackets, at mod_SSB. For Chipotle, as you play both DDD and Mega Man, what is your thought process and how do you decide which character to play and when in bracket? For Olag, what is your favorite part about streaming?
Ooh. All right, I guess I'll go first, given that it's the way it's been structured. So,
Yeah.
this is a tough one because Mega Man is normally a very reactionary pick for me. I never really do it proactively unless I've had prior sort of tournament experience with the player I'm about to go up against. For example, Invisi, who I think played Rosa in Smash 4, but in Ultimate he plays the Belmonts, specifically Simon. So that I don't rate that matchup at all for DDD. I think it's awful. You get Ledge Trap to Kingdom Come. But this is not to say, and I always start that matchup out with Mega Man, but this is not to say that I use Mega Man for DDD's bad matchups, because DDD has a lot of bad matchups. And there are actually some matchups that I prefer. On paper, it sounds bad, but I'd prefer playing DDD into that, like Zero Suit. I actually don't mind that matchup, despite people saying it's awful, you know?
Well, you know, how many Zero Suits have you played? Because if you're referring to my matchup, I'm not exactly the pinnacle of Zero Suit play.
Yourself and Andre from South Australia when I went down. And
that's fair enough then.
We got Joe and Trojans.
Yeah.
Joe bops me all the time, but it doesn't feel too smothering.
Bad. Well,
And
I think the thing is as well, Mega Man players reckon that Zero Suit is like their worst matchup. So it's like, even though it might be bad for DDD,
it's probably not that much worse, right? And I guess I always try to attribute it to like what their sort of what's the word, margin of error with their characters, because those characters are pretty hard to play. Like Zero Suit and Pikachu, I like playing the big penguin because, especially at our level, even the PR guys sometimes, you know, they you can find openings, right?
Yeah.
And your punish game as a heavy is going to be massive anyway. So as opposed to like a Mega Man back air, you might get an up smash from DDD, which is like slow, but it's got good range, so you can catch them maybe jumping out of shield and, you know, maybe get yourself an early stock. And once you're in the lead as DDD, even if the matchup's bad, you can just, you know, lob Gordos and trade.
Things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just be annoying. And
so it's more like you switch the matchups that are really good for Mega Man rather than the bad matchups of DDD.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
and
the
for Olag,
Yeah.
what is your favorite part about streaming?
Oh, the money. Yeah, I love it. Just raking it in. No, that's definitely not true. I originally I think I started it just as a bit of a substitute for offline tournaments. I think my main goal for it was we'd had a bit of a presence in offline tournaments. Like, we had a pretty decent presence in offline tournaments. And when everything went online, it was kind of the same reason as to why I started doing commentary and stuff for online tournaments. I just wanted to kind of keep that presence going. And then I think that's at least how it started. So I think, just at least kind of still keeping connected with the Smash scene is probably one of the main reasons I started doing it anyway. It's still probably my favorite part. I think it's great to still have people tuning in from WA, Queensland, Vic, and stuff like that, and obviously SICE as well kind of slides in pretty frequently just to keep me updated as to what's going on in Northern Territory. Apparently they're now starting a couple of offline tournaments pretty soon, which I'm really excited about. Sick. And I don't know, it kind of just becomes like a weird sort of news feed in a sense. Like people are just kind of coming in and telling me about what they've been up to, which is always welcome, honestly. And then but I guess just more broadly, I kind of like the dynamic just playing games generally of like just a bit of a back and forth with other people in the room, and I feel like having that chat there as well is more or less that same dynamic, so to speak.
Yeah.
Something happens, you make an absolute fool of yourself. You kind of just sit there for a second, and then you kind of get pretty immediate responses from the chat being like, "You're an idiot," and I'm like, "Yeah, I am," but at least we experience that together. So I don't know. I genuinely kind of like that style of gameplay. Plus, it means that I can play single player games, and people won't be like, "Can I have a turn?" So that's always good. Like I'm gonna stream Mario 3D All Stars over the weekend, and people won't be like, "Oh yeah, cool." Let me. I know how to run this run, so let me jump in when we get to, like freaking. I don't even know any of the names from Mario 64. Like I don't know, Bowser's Castle, sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, thankfully I don't have to pass off the controller because I'm a bit of a hog like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. I really enjoy that sort of back and forth in streaming, I'd say. And it makes it really fun as well whenever Chip actually drops in too. We've done a couple of streams together. And yeah, so I think just having that like dynamic from commentary, but being able to transfer it into something a little bit more casual is really, really fun too.
Sounds so good. I should tune into twitch.tv// what's the Twitch channel?
It's the real Olag.
I love how I forgot the most important bit.
Twitch.tv/ the freaking this guy.
I'm giving it my best shot. I'm fighting for my life out here.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate the plug. Thank you.
No problem. Let's keep these questions rolling.
Let's do it.
Techless, professional necro barista shill, Black Lives Matter, at Sachi. Your name is so long I had to. At Sachi Can't Tech says, for Olag, what kind of differences do you feel between the MTL and Montreal and Australian scenes that has changed how you do comms?
Sort of how it changes comms as well. Well, I feel like the biggest difference in terms of just like the scenes themselves was I think that the gameplay in Montreal was a lot slower, so it meant that there was a lot more room for, I guess, a bit of color commentary, so to speak. Like you can kind of talk about stuff like just like slightly outside of the game. You can kind of maybe you can kind of bring back parts that happened earlier in the set and whatnot. It seems to be a lot more room for that rather than just talking about what's happening at that point in time. I find that Australian commentary, or rather Australian gameplay, seems to be a lot faster. Like stocks will just kind of disappear much quicker. So you kind of just have to keep up with it a lot more. That was kind of the biggest difference. But I also just found, like, generally speaking, being now like a part of two scenes, it forced my commentary to be a lot less like personalized to the players. Because like as I said earlier as well, like whenever I was tuning into the Aussie streams, and then I'm just thinking like, oh, who the hell's Ellis? Like who's like Bin as well? I didn't know who Bin was when it was Re-Raise or Ray-Z. Yeah. There was just like the small things like that, which I kind of told myself, like, when I come back, I just got to make sure I kind of don't do that either, because there's just going to be like that one person in the chat who doesn't know what's going on. Yeah. And I don't know, like that can kind of just prevent someone from coming back. So I don't know, it was just I'd say that was probably the biggest thing, was just to kind of try and keep a pretty broad perspective as to who your audience is when it comes to commentating. Yeah. Because I mean, look, the people can come from anywhere. So just trying to be as accommodating as possible was the main thing. But I think I'm just glad that I kind of had that exposure, so I could sort of have that reflection. But yeah, no, that's good. For me, I've never really been outside of Australia, but especially when I went to like
New South Wales majors and watched other players come to Queensland, there was a big difference on like commentary style when you mix up all these other different players and play styles. So I can see where you come from. It's like it feels strange once. For me, it was like, oh wow, like, you know, maybe this person is more aggressive, because Queensland back then was like, you know, more of a defensive state. So you have to switch it up, and you know, it's hard to think about that before you've seen the players. So at least you had the pre watching ability to look at some of the different scenes.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
Let's keep the ball rolling. Dags @Dags_SSB. I really want to get into these Twitch questions because we're nearing the 3 hour mark. So I'm starting to plow.
All right,
pineapple on pizza. You can both say no if you are smart, but
all right.
You know.
I don't mind it. I think pineapple can be on more things because it's very rare that I get to eat pineapple. So I don't mind having it as an option. That said, though, it's definitely a very mid to low tier pizza for me.
Yes.
I would normally get ham and cheese just without the pineapple. I think that's much better.
Okay.
Or pepperoni, which is like my favorite.
Yeah, pepperoni's sick, but for me, the oil on the pepperoni is like, come on.
Oh, bro,
it's way too much all the time. I'm like looking in an oily mirror every time I stare at one of these pepperonis.
But it's what the Ninja Turtles eat. They just eat pepperoni, I think. That's why they
get
get
extra
so buff.
cheese.
It's true.
That's the diet, man.
Sane cowbunga, yeah. It's a great point.
I wish I could just get jacked off a diet of pepperoni pizza. Say cowabunga and beat up ninjas.
Live in a sewer. Oh, God, great.
That's the trade-off, actually. You get all that
have
power.
to live in a sewer.
Oh, man. I mean, I feel like I'm more or less the same. I can tolerate it. I think it's fine. I feel ham and pineapple is a bit much. I think it's a stretch. I like on Supreme Pizza, for example, pineapple's a pretty common mainstay there. I can deal with it because of the fact that there's a lot of other flavors kind of, I guess, masking it, honestly. I'd say if it was just pineapple and maybe one other ingredient, I would rather not. But I can deal with it, but it's not up there in the list.
It always gets so hot, you know? You're biting into some ham and cheese and it's like a good ass temperature. And then you bite into some pineapple and the molten juices just burn the entirety of the inside of my mouth. Like, why do I have to wait 5 minutes for the pineapple on top of my pizza? If you're ordering a pizza, you're not in I could go for a pizza mood. You was hungry. So you don't want your pineapple to make you wait another 5 minutes so it doesn't, like, third degree sear your entire taste bud spectrum.
And then the pizza's lukewarm as well.
Yeah. At that point, the cheese is all, like, gone back to cheese mode and it's not all stretchy anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
No.
Cheese mode cheese on pizza is the worst. When it solidifies...
Get it out of here!
It's so bad. God. I can see it. I remember you eat like half the pizza because I always order pizzas, just like the small ones from Domino's or the $5 value ones from Domino's when I can't be stuffed. And like you eat half of it and you're like, all right, let me do something. You come back to it and the rest of it is it's just become this cake. Like there's this layer, there's this layer of just grease, right? And it's just solidified. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do this, man. Every time I bite into it.
That's a microwave pizza for tomorrow now.
You microwave it for a bit too long and it becomes like, it just becomes the floppiest thing ever. It just falls apart in your hand. You're like, man, I can't do this.
I love
it's
that
one of those.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, I love, Cap, that you just said, after you come back to it after a while and you just said the pizza's settled.
Yes.
Oh, God, I don't know. That's such a visceral term for it.
It's the right word, though.
It's resting.
The right word.
All the sediment has fallen to the bottom of the river there of the pizza. Yeah.
It's like when you leave soup. You guys left soup out.
Or noodles?
No. Oh, dude, ramen? Oh, my God. And then there's like a film over the top of the soup.
Yeah.
And you're
that's not the question anymore.
I'm a degenerate.
Moving on. Also for Chip, have you ever went to an actual Chipotle before?
I've never been to the States, nor have I been to a country that has it, nor have I been out of my way to go to one of them. I just really like the bean that it comes from.
Oh, yeah.
I like Guzman. I think Guzman
I like
is
Chipotle sauce.
Yes, that's amazing as well. Just anything that it's on is great. I've never been to the chain though. I probably will go eventually when I go to the States and take a photo or something. That'll be funny.
You'll get forced to.
Yeah, I guess. And I'll be like, hey, look at me. It's get it. It's my tag.
Me with Chipotle.
Yeah, dude.
And just like a fucking sick ratio on Twitter.
Yeah, I get destroyed. I get annihilated. I was nothing like that.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Nated Dog. Nate Dog. Nated. I got confused because it's his tag is at Nate DTN. So it just looked like Nated NTN. Anyway, banana fritters or pineapple fritters at the fish and chip shop.
This wasn't. I remember reading this question when I was looking through them, and I was like, man, this is out of all the ones, this is the most like bizarre.
Was it a Queensland
What
thing?
is a banana fritter?
I've not had a pineapple fritter. I've heard of a banana fritter. I haven't had a pineapple one.
But I think pineapple fritters are like iconic in Queensland, but I don't often have them, so I can't be trusted as an accurate source on that comment.
I mean, look, I've got a fish and chip shop just down the road, and I don't think they serve either of them.
Yeah, there you go.
So I can't look. I can't say that I have had either, so I can't really make a choice. Maybe like pineapple. I'd say pineapple like would be a little bit better in a more savory sense. That's just my thought, though.
I think banana. I think banana would go down all right. I don't know. I feel like this is not an option that you would swing for when you go to a fish and chip shop.
Yeah, what are your normal fish and chip shop orders? Is it just the fish and chips, or do you go for some of the
fish and chips
and the chips? Unfortunately, it's vanilla.
No potato cakes or dim sims?
Oh,
You know what?
scallops.
Potato scallops.
Scallops are pretty
yes.
good.
Skull's pretty good. Dim sims. Look, man, it goes against my culture, but I do like a greasy dim sim every now and then. I'm like, man, this is the wackest dumpling out there. My mother would be fuming, but I'm like, you know what?
Yeah, they're not right. I have to agree.
Yeah, and I'm like, but you know what? Sometimes you just feel it. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
man, this just hits the spot. I feel
that?
like I don't know. Fish and chips, they always have such big menus, but you're like, I'm only here for the one thing, and then you're like, maybe I should try experiment, and then you experiment, and they're like, sorry, we don't have that, and you're like,
Yes.
oh, okay, what? You're like, all right, I
And you're like,
guess.
"Then take it off the menu!"
Yeah. And then you see some weird shit like deep fried Mars bar, and you're like, oh shit. I think I can only have like 2 of those in my life. And then I'm probably dead on the third. Like I'll bite into the third, and then my heart just stops. Like it just cuts.
The freezer demon comes out and says, "Your time is up."
Oh no!
And I'm like, all right, wait, can I change my voice still?
Yeah. You could bestow another person a
Heart attack.
deep fried Mars bar instead.
And I burn one of their lifelines. And like, yeah, you can only have 2 now, dude.
Sorry,
Take
bro.
that.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I cut you off there. You were gonna say something. What were you gonna say, Cap?
I was gonna say that fish and chip shops live and die on their chips.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
That's the most like. Everything else can be crap, but if the chips are dynamite, you don't give a fuck.
It's probably because more people are in the mood for chips than they are for anything else that they offer. Like fish is always just a commitment as well,
Yeah.
but the chips, you know, if you make mean chips, business is gonna come. And like if that goes well with chicken salt, oh boy,
You sorted.
oh dude, 100%.
The
got-
fish and chips place near mine is called the Codfather. I quite like that.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. You know, the most recent time I had fish and chips, they forgot to give me a fork.
Oof.
And I had this whole like fish, chips, salad, right? And I was like, I have no fork. And we were back in my mate's car, and it was too far to walk back. So I just said, fuck it. I'm so hungry. I just went hands in. And it was great. It was great. It was really greasy, but I think maybe it was just because I was really hungry, but that was probably the most enjoyable meal I've had in ages, you know? Yeah. Sometimes it just hits the spot.
They were there for you when no one else could be.
Exactly.
I got to say as well, Cap. I think you might like this one on the Codfather. The one that's closest to me, or not actually the absolute closest, but the one slightly further away, is it's just called The One That Got Away.
Oh,
So I think that's a great name for a fish and chip shop.
yeah, I love that.
That's clever.
Yeah, man. And
In
you
a
got to
dumb
sit
way.
down for the fish as well. Yeah. It is very dumb, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you got to sit down for the fish, honestly. But with the chips, you pick them up, take them, run with them.
yeah,
Ideally, pay
Peace.
for them, but yeah.
yeah. No, it's an option.
Yeah.
We live by the honor system. Alrighty, guys. That is all of the Twitter questions. Make sure if you want to get yours in next time that you ask away when the time arises so we can read yours out. Because right now, I am willing to put 10 minutes onto the table for Twitch questions. And then, as a responsible dad, I shall put you all to sleep, tuck you in, wish you a very good night. No kisses on the forehead, though. You can miss out on that one. And, yeah. So, at the moment, this is how Twitch questions work. If you're lurking in the chat, just get your questions in. We answer as many as we can within the time frame. So, if you want to highlight your message as well, you can use your stream points like this. I'm going to do one here, which is like... boom. So then we can read them.
I like
That-
big
that-
smiles.
That's a great point.
Who doesn't like big smiles? Everyone's
smiles.
either thinking them.
Yeah, that's
Love 'em.
I'm trying to think of someone who wouldn't. I don't know.
Someone with no mouth.
True.
Yeah,
They hate big
it's true.
smiles. They just get jealous.
You can,
No
you can,
questions.
Can't you do that with your Mii characters as well, like on the Switch, or I guess more specifically the Wii? I guess you can just make
Yeah.
it make the mouth just huge. I feel like
tiny.
that's the way to do it, or tiny, yeah. But then they're the types of people who wouldn't like big smiles. Then they're
Yes.
jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the mouth moves up, right? You can always. I remember the custom Mii's that people used to make. Like I had a Darth Vader and a Clone Trooper, but they'd move the mouth to somewhere creative, like the side or the nose or something, where it just wouldn't be visible or something like that. I don't know.
I always on my Mii's I try and give them no faces at all, so I can wear the Rabbids costume, and it just
Ooh.
looks like it's normal. But you can't do
Looks like
it.
Looks like a big mouth.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
no.
have to give them features though, so it doesn't work.
You gotta.
All right, if in a fight, what medieval weapon is your weapon of choice? Oh, damn, that's good.
That's a great question.
That's a really good question.
Oh.
There's a correct answer.
I've been told, because I know the guy who's asked the question as well, and I feel like he's told me the right answer.
Yeah.
But I've drawn blank. God, I want to say for the sake of like damage output, but also maneuverability, I kind of want to say like a flail.
Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty badass too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would just say, I think like just the sheer maneuverability of that as a weapon. It's like borderline projectile, borderline ranged, but like you've got the maneuverability of just like fist basically. So I don't know. That's honestly that's what I'm thinking. I reckon a flail is, it kind of gets like the best of virtually all worlds. You can't. Well, I mean, you can throw it. You'll have to get it again, but you can throw it.
You've been given the approval of Pog answer from
Pog
Lower
answer.
B
Oh,
Fighter.
thank good.
So
Thank
you got
goodness.
it right.
That's a good answer, man. That's like, yeah, you get everything with that actually.
What
You
are
get
you using,
range.
Chip?
Ooh. My initial thought was like, maybe I'll go for a hammer, like an old school like big ass like warhammer.
Oh,
Yeah.
But that's just a bit unwieldy, I find. And I probably wouldn't use that if it were me in the fight, you know?
Like a Warhammer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they do smaller hammers too,
Yeah.
you know.
But I feel like if you want the impact, you'd probably need a big ass hammer.
Yeah.
Like if I'm rocking a
massive
small hammer, I'd rather have a knife or a sword or something. So I'm going to say crossbow, I think.
Yeah.
It's fast. It's easy to use. I can just cheese a dude out, you know? There's like a knight with like 12 years of training. I can just smoke him like that. And I'll be like, all right, sweet, let's move on.
let's get dinner.
Yeah, basically.
Personally, I'd go a sling or an axe. Slings are hella underrated in terms of weapons. Back in the day, people, that was one of the easier weapons that you'd train with for hunting. And they'd have surprisingly good range. And you're throwing like rocks at people, like heavy fucking things. Sometimes you just like, even if you hit them in the chest or whatever, if they got armor on, it can just dint them and kill them anyways. So I like slings, and axes. I think are more versatile than the classic swords back in the day, because most people think of swords as like the go-to, but axes are, you can hack at stuff. You can, the whole shebang. Anyway, if you were to play a competitive fighting game, this is from Verse, other than Smash, what would you play? This is a good one.
I mean, I mentioned earlier that I did play Street Fighter, a bit of Street Fighter. I really like Street Fighter. It's like 5 is in a better place than it was at the start. I don't know if I would get back into it again. I think I'd probably play Tekken. I think I would play, if I had to get into one that was new, I think Tekken would be my go-to. There's just too much going for the scene. It's exciting. The commentary is really good for it whenever I tune into streams, and it seems like the cast of characters is it's super anime, but not too anime. It's like anime with a bit of a grunge filter, like it
carries the FGC.
Yeah, exactly. That too, and it's like you got like the big crossover stuff as well. Like they got like what, Geese Howard, they got Akuma, they got Negan from The Walking Dead. I don't know about that one, but I was like, that was pretty nutty. I don't know. I was like, what the hell? I watched that show, and why the hell is this guy in it?
Yeah,
just walked in.
Yeah, I think he's who's the guy? Harada.
Oh, don't ask me for shit.
Yeah, he's got an idea about what to put in the game. I like the fact that he put a Negan.
Yeah.
I wish more games did those kooky picks. Like, imagine
avant-garde
putting
stuff. Yeah,
something like that into Smash.
A TV show character in Smash,
or a movie character, or an anime character. Shoutouts to Millis. Put Goku in.
Jesus, can you imagine the scene? The full screen beam as his beam.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I think he's already in like Super Smash Crusade, one of like those fan ones, and that's what he does. He goes, and he just like spams that. Yeah,
it's a kill move as well at high percent. Like kills at 100. You're like, damn, I got outplayed there. Fair enough.
Just melts the opponent.
They don't even go off the screen. They just explode like a stamina move.
Oh no, that's rough.
What games are you playing, Olag?
I reckon. I mean, the only other game that I really sort of have put much time into, that had, well, I say had very specifically a competitive scene was Heroes of the Storm.
Right.
Because I don't know, it seems like a game that's it seems to be a lot of people's like almost guilty pleasure. Because I kind of mentioned, or like I think I streamed it a while ago, and all of a sudden people who I would not have even expected, kind of came out of the woodworks, and they're just like, oh, Heroes of the Storm. I play that, play that all the time, and I'm like, oh man, there you go, that's crazy. And like I'd heard, I think it was like the WA guys like Little Z and Hopcat, I think as well, had been playing it for ages, and it's just like the weirdest people have just kind of have surfaced with it. But I feel if I wanted to sort of play a game competitively, and at the same time that scene kind of revived and got the love that it had from a couple of years ago, then I'd 100% put a lot of time into that, because it just, like I love the game itself, and I think the competitive scene was a little hard done by, unfortunately. So I hope it makes a return.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, all of the MOBAs other than Riot Games, League of Legends are better these days.
Yeah.
Like seriously, fucking what's the one? Smite. They have like Avatar: The Last Airbender and
Korra as
characters, as well as the giant cat, whatever that is.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how the game's gotten better. Ooh. Put Aang in there. Oh, it immediately goes to 10 out of 10.
I downloaded it just for that. I don't even play it. I'm still bad at that.
Characters will do that, man.
Yeah.
You get a really good character in one of those MOBAs, and it's like official, and it's like people will download it just because they like this character. That's why
That
fighting games
exclusive stuff, man.
That's why Smash is so popular. It's because it's like, oh, by the way, everyone's here. You know, anyone you want, we got it.
Oh, actually, I'm going to change my answer. The chat's mentioned something very important. Pokemon Unite. I'm gonna become competitive in Pokemon Unite when that comes out. Jeez Louise.
Is that an on the horizon title?
The Pokemon MOBA, which looked like absolute crap, and I think it was on the phone.
It looked like dog shit. I remember watching it on the stream. Oh,
it was the phone one, because they're like, oh guys, we've got like 2 Pokemon directs in a week, like in the same week. You know, the first one was like announcing the DLC for Pokemon. They're like, but watch out for next week. And you're like, oh, let's do it. And it was Pokemon Unite. And everyone's like, are you serious? And then it's like, all right, well, the direct's over. And you're like, oh, okay, cool.
You're like, I guess I'll look forward to the toothbrushing one? The Pokemon Smile?
Grush? What?
Yeah.
No, that's like the Pokemon Smile.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, Pokemon Smile. Like, I guess we'll look forward to that one, because that looks great.
I'm a competitive Pokemon Smile player.
Yeah. I'm PR in Pokemon Smile, dude.
I brush my teeth so fucking good.
You don't even have teeth anymore. That's how you game the system.
I was on the grind last night, and it's just gums. Like,
literally grind it away.
Well, if you play Smash, you lose your hands. You play Pokemon Smile, you lose your teeth. It's always got to be a trade-off.
Yeah, that's Nintendo competitive scene in a nutshell, right? You just lose everything.
Trade a piece of your soul for competitive integrity. Yeah. All right. Zondrel, what lightsaber color would you choose, including non-law colors?
Including non-law colors.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Are you guys Star Wars fans?
I mean, I know enough.
Yeah.
Like, I don't keep up with the AU or anything, but I watched the Clone Wars. That was sick.
Yeah.
That final season was dope. And the movies as well. I mean, not that anyone likes the new ones.
I've played some of the games.
Bit of a stretch.
Watched the movies.
Yeah, the new ones.
The new ones are sort of rough, man. Not the best.
They tried their hardest.
they really did.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of good ideas. Ugh. All right. What is non-law colors? Well, what are non-law colors? Are they just like anything then?
Neon pink, rainbow, I guess. Like,
yeah, I guess really just anything that just doesn't feature in the movies or shows.
Only limited by the spectrum of colors that exists in the real world.
Which is a lot. That's a lot of colors. What's the dullest? I reckon.
Grey.
Beige.
Yeah. Like the color of I don't know. Like concrete.
yeah. It doesn't even look like a lightsaber.
Yeah, it's just a solid. It still functions like one. It's just a solid chunk.
Oh man, that just sounds cool now.
It does.
It's so hard to make a lightsaber lame.
Oh no.
I don't know. I feel like realistically, like probably like a green one, I would say. I think the green one's always so cool in the movies.
Yeah.
Like Qui-Gon and what's his face?
Yoda?
Yeah, that's it. That guy. That guy's pretty cool as well.
That little gremlin.
Yeah.
That little ketamine addict.
That little monster.
You know what's really weird? A lot of people didn't like the way he fought in the second movie or something like that. Like they gave him, because you know how he's supposed to be this sage dude, and it's like, dude, he's so old he can't fight anymore. But he's like 800 years old, right? But then 30 years before in the prequels, my man's like flipping and doing acrobatics and shit. I was like, man, okay, the 30 years just aged him. You know?
I always assumed between the years of those episodes he just gave up on life and that's why he died. And
800, all those years of experience just withered away in 30 years.
Lost his purpose. He was like, fuck this, I'm out. Taught this last guy, peace.
He might have also just realized that he was 800 years old and he's just like, oh my god. And he just kind of shriveled just so quickly.
He really did.
He got a birthday card and was like, "Oh Jesus Christ!"
His eighth letter from the Queen. Like, oh, come on, stop writing, please.
It wasn't the 7th one that done him in. He was like, you know what? I'm still good. I still got so much to live for. It's like the 8th one was like, oh no.
Oh yikes.
That's it. 800. That's the kicker.
What color are you choosing, Olag?
I definitely got to go orange. I think orange would be such a cool color for a lightsaber.
Orange is cool.
Yeah, I reckon it's a pretty funky color. I think just like it would definitely make you stand out in a crowd, especially if we're comparing it to like the full, traditional lore. I guess I'm pretty sure one of the characters in is it Rebels? He has like an orange sword or lightsaber, or it's yellow or something.
Yeah.
But that's really about as much as I know. I mean, like I've been trying to brush up as much of Star Wars history as I can, because I started running a Star Wars RPG campaign with a bunch of friends who
nice.
I played. Yeah, no, I'm having a blast with it. A bunch of high school friends who we played D&D with since like year 9. So I sort of gave it my first go of running the stuff, and I'm pretty sure I sort of delved into a bit of Rebels things, and I distinctly remember that guy's orange lightsaber, and I'm like, man, I want that. I gotta put that in my pocket.
Yellow and orange is supposed to mean like you're not Sith, but you're not Jedi. You're just like you're in between.
Yeah.
That's always.
I always liked yellow and orange because in one of the earlier PS1 games, Plo Koon uses that, and I thought Plo Koon was the sickest guy ever.
Dude, Plo Koon's the bomb. He's the beast, bro. He's so sick, and every moment he gets in the Clone Wars that he gets to shine and do something, like it's like, oh shit, it's Plo Koon. And then you just see him get blown up in episode 3. Just like that, man. He's supposed to be a good pilot, and the clone's just like, nah, we got him, dude.
Beep, beep, beep. Done.
Just drop him. Yeah.
Laters, smoke this ball.
Really should have done like a super extended edition, because I feel like they just had too many characters that they didn't want to give super screen time to. And I would have loved to see Plo Koon just, I don't know, not dying.
Well, he
I just want him back.
He doesn't, because if you go onto YouTube and you type in Plo Koon survives Order 66, there's a wealth of content with some Lego stop motion. I remember looking this up as a kid. Lego stop motion Plo Koon survives Order 66. It's like some dude who's got the movie and he's got the scene where Plo Koon's about to die, and then it switches to the Lego version and he ejects and he lives. And I'm like, damn. 8-year-old me was like, all right, I'm sold.
I have to make a new tab on YouTube beside my 2003 Playhouse Disney Cooking with Colin tab.
You got some watching to do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's classic. Man, look, Lego literally brought all that together. Like the amount of just retellings of stories just through blocks. Man,
just with Lego. It's like, by the way, this is the AU I've always wanted. Because I can change it. It's mine. It's fan fiction.
Foundations of Lego is one of the foundations of creativity.
Yeah. It's true.
Yes.
That's where all those original sort of little like shorts come from, right? It's like machinima. It's like Lego. All those things are like cut from the same cloth, essentially.
Jet, what's your Lego stop motion channel again? Can I plug that? Or we pretending like there's two different.
You're joking. He's got that's awesome.
That makes sense. Does. That makes a lot of sense, though. I wouldn't put it past him. I feel like
I'm subscribed to him, but for the life of me, I can't remember the name. Oh well, I'm sure he doesn't want me to plug it to everybody. Speaking of plugs, the last plug shall be done upon this day. Oh wait, no, we got one more question. Burritos, yay or nay? Yay.
Big yay.
Big yay. Dude.
Thank you,
asking
Master
the right
of Disaster. Guy. Oh, he's posted it. Jet Williams. There you go.
Woo. There he is.
Okie dokie, everybody. So, it is now 10:14. We've done an hour. No, 3 hours. Jesus.
Oh my god.
My brain is falling apart. I'm sure you guys are both still riling to go, but I will have to call it quits because I have a 3-hour timer on my just survival brain before it starts to fall apart. So we're going to say thank you for coming on. thanks for everybody for watching. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully this new format works out so we can do more in the future. I've really enjoyed it. Next time, we should have you guys all in the same room so we can have more of a vibe going. Look forward to that someday.
That would be great. Maybe at the next time we swing by Queensland for a major, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be in Queensland at that point.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. You know what? You did mention this as well. Maybe we'll just do it from where we are.
Yeah. there's high potential there.
Yeah.
Other than that, that is if I can make my final escape plan out of Jet's basement. I've escaped too many times, which is why we're doing it online. That's the real reason. He doesn't want me to tell anybody because, you get enough cheese and crackers, you can create enough stale crumbs and glue them together with your bodily fluids to make a key and then break out. So it's no longer allowed, he says, and he's just kept it locked. Steel ball, the whole shebang. So eventually I will be getting out, and I'll be getting across the state as soon as possible.
in your crumb-fueled car.
Yeah, that's all I get. That's all I need. I'll show you, Jet. Okie dokie, guys. Thank you so much. We love you all, viewers. Tune in next time where we get a stack of cards. I'll interview a stack of cards, and then it'll go horribly wrong halfway through when the wind blows and they fall apart.
Dude, the best guess. You don't even need to talk to them, right?
Yeah, except when they fall apart and I start falling into and crying. Alrighty, guys. All right. Peace out, everybody.
Thank you for having us. Love you all.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you for having us.
No problem at all. Thanks for being fans.
Dude, anytime.
For you guys, anything. Love it.
Okay. I've got you on recording.
I enjoyed my time at this podcast too. Thank you very much.
That's all right. We're gonna have to give him our crumbs as well, because now he's gonna build a crumb plane.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, all right.
He'll do it.
Yeah, you give me too many ideas. All right. Goodbye, everybody.